Russ Clark Show live from Mortgage One Studio. See, I got that right, Derek.
You did.
I did.
Congratulations.
I keep wanting to say M560.
It's taking you,
I
what,
do.
3 weeks, 2 weeks?
Well, it took me 10 years to get it ingrained or better.
Took you 10 years to get it right.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden they took it away.
Well, we're still working on that. Let's see what
They did. I'm running on low sleep, but amazingly, I feel fine
fumes
for now, but it's not going to last.
No.
But last night we had an event at for the Republicans, the Lincoln Day dinner,
and that was a great event.
It was probably the best one we've been to. Britton Farms. I was a little worried about it because the temperature got so hot outside, and that place has no air conditioning,
and the doors were all closed.
Yep.
For quite some time. Yeah, but no, it was beautiful. It was just cool enough, and then when the doors opened, they brought the food in. I mean, it was perfect.
It ended up that way.
Yeah,
I was a little worried about it.
Have some faith, Russ.
And we had a full house. We sold out.
Yeah, I think I counted, what was it, 20 tables of 10, so you had 200. And it was not a seat in the house.
No, it was 200 people. So it was a good time, but man, I didn't get out of there till 10:30.
Well,
it's late for me.
You had some extra duties. So for everybody who doesn't know, you did a great job emceeing the event, by the way.
Oh, it's fun for me. I'm an A guy. I like to be in charge of the mic.
An A guy.
Type A.
Oh, type A. I would say we could add some things after A, and it would be a completely different.
But type A. Yeah, I want to be in charge of the mic.
And you were.
Yes.
and again, you did a good job. But for those that don't know, it's not all, lights and glory. Ooh. Beforehand, you're setting up all of the equipment. The entertainment ends and the show ends, and Russ Clark takes off his fancy shirt and starts packing up all the stuff.
That took a while.
And so you were doing that for what, an extra hour, 2 hours?
1 to 2 hours. I don't know. Well, I get interrupted because people are saying goodbye, they're saying hello and all that. So I'll take the time to do that in between everything. But it takes a couple hours. It takes like 4 hours to set it all up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tape it down, I get it out of the way, I have to test it, make sure everything's working.
And in the grand scope of things, is that a small setup or a large setup?
I think it's 5 speakers. So, you have a subwoofer and then 4 50-pound.
Oh, he had to
50 pounds.
To say how heavy.
50.
Oh my God. Somebody send Russ Clark an emoji of hands clapping. He can lift a 50-pound speaker. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But they wear you down.
I would say, and the nice thing is you let Helen carry in all 5 of those 50-pound speakers. Well,
I wish that was the case. Yeah. I wish that was it.
But again, from the audience perspective, that was a phenomenal event. I think very successful. Great energy and vibe in the room.
Yeah, it was.
Food was good, and I'm going to tell you, I can tell Tanya did a phenomenal amount of work on that.
She was only in charge of the whole thing. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hardest part is
putting it all together.
Is lassoing this guy named Russ Clark, who's literally all over the place.
Yeah. Well, she was very thorough, every detail, things that were hung on the wall to what was, the timing of things. And of course we had to improvise. Things changed up a little bit, but every event does that.
Actually, one of the coolest things was, and until she explained it, you would have never known sitting at a table. But her whole thing about, celebrating the 250th anniversary, the birthday of this country, and every centerpiece of all 20 tables celebrated a different time period.
Yes, they did.
And, so we sat down at the table and you see some cool old articles from newspapers and some cool pictures. And okay, that's, kind of celebrating something that, it's fun. But as soon as she said that, you watched every eyeball like, okay, who's going to go to this table? What's over on that table? And you started people seeing, moving around. Such a cool touch.
Yeah.
So
she went through the whole 250 years. She picked decades or things that happened in certain decades, and every table with 20 of them were split up.
Very nice touch.
Yeah, it was that was all on her.
And so you bought a table, so you took your centerpiece home.
No.
What?
I think Chris took it.
Well, you bought the table. Why is Chris? It was supposed to be the guy who bought the table. So,
well,
that's yours.
Well, It's gone.
See you two duke it out in the parking lot. But
I really didn't get to sit down there.
Well, the good news is you didn't sit down because Helen didn't save you a seat at the table. It was taken. But again, for everybody, you look at some of the help and volunteers, the kids that were there, that were helping clean tables and organize. Yeah.
So Civil Air Patrol, I think, was there, and they were doing the honor guard.
They were the honor guard, and the
Young Republicans.
Yep, and just watching their attitude and speed, helping clear things and put things together. Just a very well run operation.
There's so many people working on each little part, and then Tanya controlling the little people, all the little people, the little people, all of those. So it all came together well. It all did, and I mean we had live auction, silent auction, and then a lot of candidates who were looking for signatures were there. So that was a lot of logistics,
a lot of activity, a lot of moving things around. But again, very well run. So from a consumer perspective, looked flawless.
Oh, yeah. She paid attention to details, even hanging those red streamers on in the ceiling and all that stuff. It was all good.
Saw that, plus the festoon lights across just added that little bit of a touch.
Hey, Daniel Gutierrez was there too. He came in out of Tucson. John Chaddick, came out of Phoenix, retired congressman as a keynote speaker. But then we also had the chairman of the Republican Party came in out of Phoenix.
So again, logistically, Tanya crushed it, putting people in that room, and you've done those before. We've done those types of things before. It's hard to get everybody orchestrated in the right amount of time with the right day, just because schedules are so difficult.
Well, and rarely do I MC anything where it's all laid out. I mean, they will lay it out as far as getting people in the room, getting it ready, and what I have to go on to run the program sometimes is just a brochure. Tanya wrote down complete details, which was very helpful. But
I could tell because some of the sentences were complete sentences.
They were complete sentences. I didn't say I read it. I just said she wrote it. Actually, she wrote me. I was supposed to say something as first vice chair. And so she wrote out a whole bunch of stuff.
I know you wung it.
I didn't even look at it.
Yeah.
Although it was well done, what she did, it just wasn't fitting with what I wanted to do.
But again, that's that when you have somebody who's running an operation, taking control of that and then allowing people to do what they do best. Clearly, she set the wheels in motion, but I'm sure she's not, micromanaging the cooks. She's not micromanaging the bar.
No.
Cookies. What a great touch. And I like cookies because we make cookies here. But the cookies with the 250th and
that was the theme.
What a great touch. And same thing, don't touch the desserts, had it all displayed. She, announced that, you announced that. And then at the appropriate time, the young Republicans are walking around passing these out to everybody.
Giving everybody one cookie.
Well, and they did that because otherwise you and I probably would have taken 6 or 7. But, again, just the thoughtful touches.
We'd definitely had more than one. The other day I talked about Steak and Shake. You know the restaurant Steak and Shake? You do?
I do.
Now, you were born and raised in Yuma?
Born in Flagstaff, raised in Scottsdale till I was 8. Moved down here when I was
not
9.
a single Steak and Shakes in the state of Arizona. Not one. That's a crime. And I'm not really a big fan, and I haven't been, but I've been interested in following it. I've been in the news a lot about changing the way they fry potatoes and stuff, French fries.
Okay.
And Kennedy loves them now because they're going healthy fried, which there's no such thing. It's just that vegetable oil is much worse for you.
Yes.
That's the deal. So they're changing that to lard and tallow or whatever. Well, they just came out with a new milkshake, which is not health food. Don't get your hopes up.
You just ruined my day, Russ.
It's a $2.50 Statue of Liberty milkshake, and it's in honor of the 250th, anniversary.
Let's go.
Which is really cool.
Come on, let's go.
So they make this milkshake, and it's got a little Statue of Liberty made out of chocolate on it, and it's going to be $2.50 for the rest of the year. So they get a lot of buzz. Now, all these things are causing social media to pop up, which, as you know, because you push it a lot, the social media is very beneficial.
Yes.
As a company, you want to see that kind of noise out there, and most of them wrote very good things about it. The new MAGA diet won't allow this, but it looks delicious. Can't wait to try one. Rolling the dice on dairy. Just a bunch of stuff that's just really positive. But there were some people that were not so positive. Says, can you please build one in Phoenix?
Well, that's positive
Yeah,
that they would like one in Phoenix.
Build one
Yeah.
in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Visiting Texas soon, completely coming to get one. It's cheap and it has more effort than 99% of fast food items nowadays. Plus, it's patriotic.
Mhm. I love it.
They're right up. We were just talking about that the other day about the price of fast food. If you go to McDonald's, a Happy Meal's not 99 cents anymore.
Nope.
What is it, $5-6? A meal, like a quarter pounder meal, is $12, $13.
Mm-hmm.
So he's right. It's cheap. It's $2.50. You can go to a fast food restaurant and get something cheap. So they're getting all this buzz. And I think, what a great marketing scheme, because they're not having to pay for it. They're doing this and it goes viral. And then people write articles about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you own a restaurant or own anything, that's what you want.
Well, and what's interesting is you just said they don't have any locations here in Arizona.
No.
And it's very expensive to open franchises and to open
$1
restaurants.
million. Just write it down.
And for everybody who's saying, geez, I wish there was one in Yuma or one in Phoenix, understand the distribution of the food that's approved by that company, just to get it logistically. Let's say you could open one here in Yuma, but if the nearest one is 700 miles away, that's a problem, because now the continuity of the product, like, again, if you're McDonald's, McDonald's is global. They grow their own potatoes in Russia, right?
I didn't know it was all Russia, but they contract that.
In
yes.
Russia, they grow their own potatoes, so it can be the same as the potatoes here.
Right.
So the fries are the same globally. That's what you'd have to do with something like this. You can't just say willy-nilly, hey, I'm going to put a Steak and Shake X, because you can't get the product there.
That's why we don't have Outback. See, we had Outback for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The lease on that building ran out in 10 years, and they pulled it because of distribution. They were so far away from Phoenix and all the others, it wasn't really that profitable.
Now, that one's interesting to me because you have them in Phoenix.
Yes, you do.
And as soon as you have a hub, I think it becomes a little easier. But to that there, if you're saying their fries are going to be cooked a different way with a different, lard and or tallow, you got to get that here.
They felt like it was too far away. It was just hard to manage. They weren't really knocking them dead.
Yeah.
But the place was always busy. I liked the Outback when it was here.
Yeah, that was a great steakhouse.
I probably liked it as well as the car wash. That's what's there now.
And considering how many times you've used a car wash on your car, that doesn't speak highly to
this truck is never going to go through that.
I was going to say, so the whole analogy is you like it as much as the car wash. I'm not really sure.
I think some of that rust is holding it together, man.
I think that rust is the car.
The closest ones, if you want to go to Steak and Shake and get the $2.50.
Have you ever eaten at one?
I don't remember. I don't remember
Okay.
eating at one, so possibly not.
Great hamburgers. I mean, was always a great meal. I did a lot of traveling in the late 90s.
Okay.
Job, I was on 8 to 10 plane flights a week all over the country. And that was one of those frequent stops, because you knew Steak and Shake and or a couple others were always easy in, easy out. Always really good food, bigger burger patties and just good. I'd go back again.
The closest ones, though, Vegas and Victorville, California. 250 miles to Victorville and then Vegas. If you want to go to a Steak and Shake. I don't know if it's worth going there for a $2.50 milkshake.
Russ, I don't think you and I can get there for lunch today.
If I still had an airplane, I would probably do that just for a practice flight to
Can
go get a
we do
milkshake.
a viral social media campaign that Russ Clark is going to ride his e-bike
No,
to Steak and Shake,
no. Although I have about 2,500 miles on my e-bike,
but not
but not
consecutively?
consistent. I keep taking breaks.
I, I think that has legs in the social media world.
Yeah.
Russ Clark will play the Wizard of Oz, the bike theme when the old lady's riding the bike. Come on.
Yes. I take my dog with me.
Perfect.
My dog goes right in the basket.
In the basket.
Oh yeah. I have a basket
the
on my
theme
bike.
song
I
music would be great.
I put the dog with me.
We will video you all the way there and back.
And people make fun of me for having an e-bike like it's not a real bicycle. But it's the reason I ride it and I enjoy it so much is I can really get places. And I pedal fast enough to go 5 miles an hour probably. But with the e-bike, that kind of compounds.
Well, and
so I'm still doing the work, I guess, but it's going faster. I'm getting places.
I think that's fantastic because again, what you just said is if it's purposeful, you can get somewhere and go do something.
Sure.
And for you, when you're going from home to work, etc., you're not just, hey, I'm going out for a bike ride to enjoy it. It's I'm going and I have to get there and there's no turning back type stuff.
I rode my bike to the radio station for a year straight every day. I don't do it now because it's not as convenient for me.
Well, because the radio station's closed.
Well, the radio station closed.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're still in this area. I could ride it here.
You could.
I could.
But that big hill would cause you a problem.
No.
Can you imagine how winded
it does not cause it does not cause a problem.
On the e-bike it does not.
It does not because that's right. I've got a little extra kick if I need it.
Do you just sit up tall and smile when you're going up the hill?
I laugh out loud mostly. But with my recent health concerns with the daughter was worried about me. But I convinced her that I got an e-bike and an e-heart now because I got the pacemaker, and I got a lithium battery in my chest. So I'm in good shape.
Let's not talk about the batteries in your chest because you and that whole microphone thing.
Yeah.
But to that, you looked good on stage. You were vibrant and energetic. So it seems like you're feeling pretty good.
I do feel good. And 2 weeks ago, I was in the operating room having my heart reworked.
And did they say, please don't lift 50-pound speakers and make it look like you're, Lou Ferrigno or anything like that?
Not really.
Okay.
There was a suggestion.
It was probably more of a contractual obligation.
There was
you're taking it as a suggestion.
No, there was a suggestion that I don't get more than 5 pounds for 5 days or something. That was the pacemaker more than but I don't lift heavy weights. Yeah. And they wouldn't explain to me what heavy was.
Heavy by definition for you, Russ, is when you bend over and you go, ugh, when you're trying to lift it up. Then that's heavy. I don't do
that. My fact checker's awake. He's up before I am. Oh, he's on the East Coast.
Yeah,
it's 3 hours.
So he's got
I think he's up early. I think he's up early anyway. Yeah. Over there. He just sent me the bicycle theme music for the Wizard of Oz.
Perfect. I can visualize Russ and his dog riding from here to Vegas to that theme music. The car that's in City Hall that they did the longest flight to.
Woody thing there.
Perfect. We could ride that behind you and film you the entire way.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I try to ride off road on the bike. I don't get around cars.
Maybe for a fundraiser. It's so much per mile for Russ Clark.
I don't think you're going to collect much money on that.
I think this has legs. Whether you're using your legs on the bike or not, I think it has legs.
Yeah, maybe. Speaking of dogs, I was reading about a dog this morning. Now, have you noticed how many more dogs we see show up in public places constantly where we never used to have dogs? Yes. In grocery stores and apartment stores, everywhere else. And they all have this jacket on them that they buy out of Amazon that says it's a service dog.
Yeah.
And it's obviously not trained anyway. It's not trained. It may be emotional. Airlines went through a tough time because that thing started catching on and getting very viral. You know, got a Pekingese or something with a jacket on it and says, "I need my emotional service dog with me." And the airlines were allowing all kinds of stuff. And then I remember reading where somebody wanted to get on with their emotional service peacock.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were able to.
Peacock, monkey.
Yeah, horse.
I don't remember the mini
Well,
horse.
well, there is many horses. In fact, my daughter was working for Texas Roadhouse, and they had to sit down and discuss the do's and the don'ts and what's allowed, what's not allowed, and what's required by law. Now,
Yes.
required by law, if somebody has a service dog, like they're blind or
Yeah.
they have some kind of medical issues and they need to carry a service dog, you cannot deny them service
Nope.
into a restaurant. They have to. Now, the dog cannot eat; it's got to behave and sit quietly and can interact with customers, but they have to let them in. And on the list was a service horse they would have to let in. Never saw one, but everybody was waiting for that. But somehow it made the list.
So again,
And we're
if-
talking miniature horse.
if you need a service animal,
Yeah.
It's amazing
function.
that we can do that in this country. I mean, some of the seeing eye dogs and emotional support animals that can detect a, medical conditions.
They can.
Amazing.
Plus that dog on them Budweiser commercials that would go get you a brew. That I don't know if that was real,
I don't know.
but I think they should train that.
But here's one of the issues is we always have people who will go out of their way to abuse the system.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about is you can see right away whether something is a trained service animal or not. But everybody knows if you answer 2 questions correctly, you're not allowed to legally ask anything else. And so, oh yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm going to leave it there because if you can only ask certain things and how they're answered is it. That's
You mean the TSA agents or the airplane people?
all of them.
Okay.
So, again, if you own your establishment
Yeah.
and somebody walked in with an animal and you said you can't have that animal here unless, and they answered the question a certain way, and then you asked the follow-up question, they answer it, you're done. You cannot ask them for anything more or ask them to leave. And so now you have people who, I'm just going to take my animal X, and you can see they're at the restaurant and it's not a service
Oh
animal.
gosh, yeah.
Or you can go, like you just talked about, through the airport. It's like, I was on a flight. Now I'm sorry for the listeners who are here. I was on a flight that I thought the person behind me was having excruciating bowel movements in the seat. It happened to be the animal they had caged underneath their seat that did have a service support animal vest on them.
From Amazon or a real one?
It appeared to be an Amazon one.
Okay.
And it was the longest, stinkiest flight I've ever had.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
But it was also loud because the animal continued to vocalize and continued to do certain things. And you think that's not the normal behavior of a trained service animal. The loud barking and or howling is not.
No.
So you kind of know, and again, I'm not perfect on that, but we've done Midnight at the Oasis. We've done the Balloon Festival.
And there's no dogs allowed.
No dogs allowed. And you can see that certain people, remember the lady that brought the parrot?
No. It sounds familiar.
About 3 years ago, somebody brought a service parrot. Well,
It's considered a service parrot?
No, it wasn't a real service parrot, but
they had credentials.
She called it an emotional support parrot.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued because, and again, if you need it, absolutely. That's why, the Americans with Disabilities Act is put in place and you can do these things.
Sure.
And at the same time, why do people have to take advantage of rules and try to use it to their own benefit to the detriment of the people who really need it?
Because we care about our own benefit.
Well, to that point, Russ, the 200 people that were in that room last night.
We didn't have any service animals.
Well, not only no service animals, but those people were not there for their own benefit. They were there for a good cause. And I still believe there's a lot of great people in this country that will go out of their way when asked
To do the right
to do the right thing.
Well, the reason I bring it up, there was another incident which kind of surprises me that went viral, and it was about a dog on an airplane. There was a blind guy, legitimately blind, who had a service animal
Okay.
that's allowed on,
Perfect.
well trained and all that. Well, it was perfect except for the passengers. The passengers were angry and didn't want to sit by the animal because the animal wasn't in a cage, and they had to put their dog in a cage. Why doesn't he have to put his dog in a cage?
Because one's a service animal and one's just a paid
One's an
passenger.
emotional thing.
Yeah.
Well, someone stepped in, and a lady, Jen Hamilton, who's a nurse and was sitting there, went in and offered to change seats with the people that were outraged that this animal doesn't have to be in a cage and mine does. I guess I was just kind of shocked about that. That's awful petty. And this guy's blind.
Russ, do you see that there's some people who can see the world beyond themselves, and there's some
Yeah.
people that literally see it's only about them in the world?
I think so.
And I'm sure it probably would have not gone over well, but I would love to ask that passenger who's offended, how about you close your eyes for the next 3 hours on this flight and pretend you can't see whether your dog is in the cage or not?
I think that would not have been a de-escalation move.
Probably not, but it would have made me feel really good right about that.
It would have been good for you, maybe. But this lady just walked in. She says, "Hi, my name's Jen. Can I sit with you?" And she de-escalated it and got it all fixed.
Good.
But it went viral because somebody's filming always. The second it looks like something's going to happen,
there's 27 phones out.
they're coming out all over the place, and it really resonated with people that this was kind of petty, and this guy works for GitHub, which I guess is a organization that helps people that are blind, and he's a programmer. I don't know, how do you program blind?
Well, I mean, I can't.
He's a software engineer.
I can't.
I didn't know you could do that.
Well, you now have computer systems that'll read you the code. You can listen to it. You can
Braille thing or
you
something?
can verbally talk to the computer. You could talk to your laptop. I know you don't know where the on button is, but you could talk to your laptop and you could actually communicate back and forth that way without typing.
I did know that was available. I don't use that. I don't do that. So people asked the airliner if they're going to investigate, and Delta says there's nothing to investigate.
There really isn't.
It wasn't.
I mean, there really
isn't, wasn't
but
an incident, except on social media.
most of the stuff, it bugs me a little bit how much we try to record and capture the, hey, I gotcha.
Yeah.
But those types of things right there, I actually appreciate, because the person who is that petty and causing that amount of discord, I actually love the fact that they're being recorded, and hopefully their friends, family, and coworkers realize, look, you probably need to just check yourself a little bit and have a little bit more empathy and compassion for those who have a little bit less. Because if you can see and that person can't, maybe that's the reason the dog needs to be available, because they're working where yours is a pet traveling with you probably to the next vacation.
Yeah. I was supposed to call John Shattuck this morning
At 7.
at 7,
Mhm.
and his business card is on my desk at home.
That's a problem. So the good news is Russ Clark's heart and ticker works. He can lift the 50-pound speaker, but they forgot to turn the memory switch back on.
Well, so I'm going to text his son this morning, Stephen Shattuck, which I've talked to quite a bit, at different times.
And the text is going to start out with, in terms of organizational items, a business card and phone number might be important, which I've forgotten. Okay, so you've got some time to set that up, which is fine.
Well, I could run home.
Have you not talked to him on the phone?
No.
Okay, then that's a problem. Tanya would have. You could text Tanya as well.
You think she's up?
It's 6:30, and she said yes, because I know she's up because she has to drop somebody off at 7 a.m. for so she's super excited about something one of her children is doing today. So I know she's up. Text her right now, and she'll probably remember. She said she's on the clock today, and after that, don't talk to her for about a month.
Uh-huh.
And see, you think we don't listen in these events.
Well, you did listen.
Okay, so while you're texting, I'm just going to go back and say it's interesting how one person is using that dog to help them in life and actually get through life. You're blind; it would be very difficult. I can only imagine what it would be like not to be able to see. So that animal becomes your lifeline to move in and through society and to even respond to certain things. And somebody else who has whether they I'm sure they paid for an animal to come aboard because I'm sure it's the same as a bag, but the person who thinks their animal should be free to roam around,
Well, that's the petty part.
that's what gets me. The animal that you're proud of and it is your family pet. Absolutely. Okay, if you need to bring him to the next destination, but what would offend you about your animal being in a cage when that's what's supposed to happen, except for this person who can't get through life without that seeing eye dog? I mean, go back to the person who's blind who's trying to walk across a busy street.
Yeah.
You know, I I'm pretty good with hearing. I know, Russ, you're not, but I'm pretty good with hearing. It's difficult to determine which way the cars are going.
You
You like
throw that out there,
I
didn't you? You had to put that out there.
perfect comedic timing. That's what that is.
That's what you're calling it?
Hmm.
We're going to work with that.
Okay.
Hey, the 5 Mexican nationals are indicted after a meth bust up in California, Northern California. Northern California, I guess they've been tracking these guys for a while. They had a meth lab. They were actually manufacturing methamphetamines in that sanctuary state. And they pulled the plug on it. Pulled the trigger on going after it on February 27th of this year. They decided to go on in there. And what they found, and when they found these 5 guys, 5 of them, all of them, I think they're all guys. 5 of them in the manufacture of this. They found tons, pounds and pounds of methamphetamines at different places, different houses, all that. But this is a sanctuary state. Shouldn't they have blocked the cops from going in there?
Don't
Don't-
go
should-
don't go too far there. But
but they're operating openly in the United States. They're all in this country illegally.
Yeah.
And it's not like they keep a low profile.
well, they clearly kept a low profile enough for a period of time, and then they got too big for their
Yeah.
operation, I'm assuming. But I mean, kudos to them for catching them. So way to go, law enforcement. Let's shut that down and get as much of that out of our communities as we can. So at least some version of law enforcement is actually working there.
Yeah. Helena says she can't find it. So I'm going to tell her it's on the kitchen table.
Maybe she should FaceTime you and you can just walk her around the house. And
You know what I could do? I could look in my phone here and see if I kept it.
I will laugh hysterically if it's in one of these business cards you just pulled out of your wallet.
It was not.
Because you can't remember where you put it.
It's not. It's on the kitchen table.
Okay. Well, did you text his son and did you text Tanya?
I text the son.
Text Tanya. Copy paste.
I didn't. What? I'm going to tell Tanya that I'm supposed to interview her dad.
No. You copy paste, change one word.
Change the word,
and you're done.
All right.
Man, this is going to be harder to get you into the 20 to get you technologically advanced. I thought
I'm workable. I'm trainable.
Bringing
I'm
you into the
trainable.
new studio, I thought, wow, it's going to be a change. You've got some good equipment. Let's go have some fun. You are still operating in you need one of those flip phones.
No. I enjoy I enjoy some of the features. I don't think I'm fully operational.
Did you text Tanya?
Not yet.
Okay, stop. Text Tanya right now because you're supposed to call him in 26 minutes. And since Tanya's not here to run the show for you,
and
the last thing you want to do is be late for your call with him.
And my wife can't see the card.
Well,
so we'll go with Tanya.
All right. You know I'm right.
And you want me to change the dad? Don't.
I would prefer it. I'm just saying if you copy and pasted that paragraph, it would be way easier than watching you do the one finger type on the phone thing again. And again, you know, you can tell people who are very good with their phones because they do the two thumb typing.
I don't do that.
We know, and it's excruciating to watch sometimes.
I handed my phone to someone yesterday to put their number in, and it was amazing because it was like two fingers, and then they were scrolling around.
and
I
just
mean,
do the bump connect.
yeah, that was like I looked at my phone differently after that.
It's like a
But
supercomputer. Weird.
yeah, it was.
Okay, so you're interviewing him at 7,
Yeah, if I
and
get the phone number,
and he was the keynote speaker last night at the dinner.
he was.
Okay. And you know, some great thoughts about America 250 and had some phenomenal points about perspective.
Sure.
And you know, I think you bring a lot of perspective in your show. And you know, what I like is you look at both sides.
But it's all based on experience, and obviously his experience is going to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and more. It's going to be richer. I mean, he's actually been a congressman.
Mm-hmm. So perspectives, and again, you look here in Yuma, Arizona. Do we understand the long-term historical significance of some of these cities, towns, buildings, etc.? You know, have you ever been to West Point?
Yes.
Okay. What was it like when you were walking through there?
We went. We didn't go inside. We went by it, but it's still majestic. But obviously, my son went to Air Force Academy. I spent a lot of time there, and I've also been to Annapolis. But it's.
But if you're, you know, again, if you're from Yuma, Arizona, you don't have the perspective of what was built 200 years ago.
No.
And that's why I say the perspective of listening to him talk about a couple of stories. Thank you for that perspective, and thank you for reminding us, which again is exactly what Steak and Shake I think is trying to do is doing that $2.50, 250, you know,
Sure, yeah.
ice cream. But it's also they're putting their time, passion, resources, and energy into reminding people this is the 250th birthday of our country.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as a kid, I was 4 years old when you had the bicentennial, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I say that, but remember all the quarters that had
Yes.
the 1776
How come we don't have that this year?
I don't know. But you know how I had a huge collection of those quarters. I loved collecting those.
Yeah.
My sister spent
probably
them all
still
on
have some.
gumballs. Yeah. I think I have a few, but I came home one day and my collection was gone, and my sister had like 172 gumballs.
Oh, really?
Those weren't quite the words I think I used back then.
Yeah, nice. The Edward has sent me a keyboard that's Braille. I had no idea. I guess it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I have Gilbert calling me, so we're going to take that.
Take that.
You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, how you doing?
Doing well, man.
My comments on last night, the guy was speaking. He was pretty good in the beginning. I liked what he said. But as I'm listening, and he was talking about all the freedoms that we had, Americans' freedoms that we had, I was laughing.
Why?
Because look at all the slaves that we had. They weren't free. Look at all the Native Americans that were killed and in prison. They weren't free. We have a dark history. I love America. Don't get me wrong. But I'm listening to all this, and I'm thinking of all the atrocities that happened to Americans, people that were here long before the English came or the Spaniards.
I think every country since written time has gone through that.
Well, I understand it, but I'm listening to what he's saying, that all men were free. You know, he's talking about that. All men are free and blah, 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 blah.
Right. And that was a constitution. It was an amazing piece of work. It still is, because it stated.
There were still people enslaved. There were people still enslaved.
Absolutely. Of course.
And they were free. America was free to certain people.
Many of the founding fathers actually wanted to go that direction. They gave us the opportunity to go in that direction, and they had hoped for free for everybody, slaves, everybody, to be free. And they gave us the foundation to get it done, Gilbert.
There was a lot of, how many founding fathers had slaves themselves?
Probably most of them.
Right, exactly. But
Yeah.
while they're doing this, they're talking, and it wasn't until Abraham Lincoln. And even then, a lot of Native Americans were enslaved in reservations.
In reservations. Yeah. I was
Yeah,
saying, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. The American Indians were much on the slavery thing, but they were definitely kept on reservations.
In reservations.
Sure.
We agree with that. So
Sure.
until those things were remedied, there were certain Americans that enjoyed that. There are certain Americans that enjoyed the slavery. There are certain Americans that enjoyed our native brothers and sisters in reservations.
Sure. Oh,
So
absolutely.
it took a long time. It took a long time for Americans to actually be free.
250 years is not that long in relation to other countries and dynasties, actually, but I think it came pretty rapidly, and it's amazing what the founding
Well, it came
fathers were able to
rapidly, but people-
visualize and do and enact.
Yeah, it came rapidly to people that were affected
Of course.
by the policies
Well,
of the in charge.
no
of
one's
the American.
disagreeing with you, but the
I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying.
yeah, but
I'm
the
saying
fact that it could get done, I think, is what everyone's proud of. The fact that we can do that is really special to be an American because of it. It's like the only place in the world we can do many things.
Yeah,
Uh,
but I'm all on this in relation.
Yeah.
And I'm like I said, listening to that, thinking about all those that were in reservations and in slavery, our founding fathers weren't thinking about those people. They're thinking about themselves.
I see. I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I mean, because
Okay,
many
all right.
wrote on that needs to, and that was a big problem to get the Constitution done, and everything is to make all the states happy, because some of the states, were relying on that slavery, weren't going to give it up, and there was a lot of concessions made and all that, but with a pathway to ending it all, and that's pretty unique and pretty awesome. And I think John Chaddick did a lot of comparison today of what rights and freedoms are available today in the United States versus other countries. And we're an amazing experiment, amazing achievement. And we've been able to bypass the anything that's going on in the world right now.
But today we have people still don't want us to have a great Constitution or a great America, especially those that are fighting the SAFE Act.
Of course.
They're conceding, but those are the type of people that were involved in slavery and all that other stuff. We always had the bad guys.
Yeah.
And
now they're looking at micro expressions instead of
Mm-hmm.
enslavement. Well, they looked at me funny or something. It's gone to the ridiculous, but it's free speech, and we've got that too.
Yeah,
they can say that.
And that's what our constitutions allow them to do. They're allowed to create problems, and they are creating problems.
Well,
look at the woke movement.
They create problems if we let it happen. I think more and more exposure helps.
I think we did let it happen until recently, until Trump came into office. Look at the woke movement. What we have. Look, the Constitution allowed them to indoctrinate our kids that it's okay to cut your penis off if you want to feel like a woman.
Well, yeah, and those things correct themselves, and they do, unfortunately. But we'd be a much better country if all the people weren't here that screw it up. But we're not. It's just we got to deal with nature.
You get what I'm going with. But our Constitution allows that to happen.
Of course, and if they didn't allow it to happen, then we wouldn't have freedoms. Yeah, it's going to come with it, Gilbert. But in the long run, we find our own path. We find it.
Yep. Anyway, I'll just give you my perspective of what was going on, and I'm thinking about it. But I mean, I tell you what, that's one hell of a show last night.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But you notice
Uh,
I wouldn't let you ask a question. I know. Well, I thought
yeah,
that,
I know.
yeah, I said, no, you're done now, Gilbert. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna let you ruin this night.
yeah. The bottom line. That's you, Russ. You gotta have control. You
Well,
gotta have control. And my question was going to be a real simple one. What are we going to do? What can we do? Can the Republican do to fight this victimhood mentality that we have in America? We got so many people that they're victims. They believe they're victims and they can't do any better. And my question, what can we do as Republicans? What can we do to combat
all right.
what's
Well,
going on? That was my question.
Derek and I are going to address that, and we'll see what John Shattuck says when I call him. I'll ask him that.
All right. Sounds
buddy.
good to me.
You take care.
And
Bye-bye.
the fact that I wouldn't let you have questions, how ridiculous that sounded.
It sounded
Later,
great to
dude.
me. I liked it.
Well, of course you, because you're a narcissist.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye. Yeah. He outed me. I'm a narcissist.
He did.
No, he was. I couldn't take any more questions. The time we were running out of time, and poor Gilbert wanted to ask questions. I said, no, can't.
See,
We're done.
That
done.
evening went so fast.
It did. It was great. We had a good time. What he says about victimhood, which I like. I like the subject actually, and we see a lot of it right now because we have so many blogs and so many things going on where there's people that get on the blog and talk about all the negatives in our country, which I thought Gilbert was going a little negative on us, but we can't change the past.
Nope.
But we can celebrate the accomplishments. And I think we accomplished a lot. And it was hard. Civil War was not easy. From what I've read, I didn't experience.
And again, you go back to West Point. You just started talking about that. Do you realize that when you look at the Civil War, most of the generals on both sides graduated West Point?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Lee was a West Point guy.
So you had brothers from school now fighting to the death against each other
and fighting for freedom, really, and fighting for the ridiculous slavery issue and getting rid of it. But
and I think back to your point, his point, that's what we have to realize is the person who was fighting for slavery thought they were fighting for their freedom of their lifestyle.
Well, they were fighting for states' rights.
And so when we say things like, okay, what can, Gilbert says, what can we as the Republicans do? You have to go out and each one teach one or each one teach 10 and start calling people out. Again, I work in an office and you hear people go, oh, I can't do that. I'm a single mom. Wait, what does that mean that you're a single mom? Does that mean you can't do it because you're a sole breadwinner, but the single dad over there can do it? Where is that victimhood coming from? We have to give perspective to say we have opportunity through education, through jobs, through investing. Anybody can do anything. They just might need a second sphere of influence of friends and family and mentors.
Mm-hmm.
You mentor a lot of young kids with speech and or things. Why?
Long story, but basically helping people is I was helped a lot. To go to college, to go to other things, I had mentors that pushed me to take advantage of opportunities because they saw something in me that I could accomplish things that I didn't understand I could accomplish. And they asked me, and Superior Court Judge William G. Bush III, actually, who I started working for when I was 14, he really opened my eyes that there's more to this world than what I thought there was. And when he pushed me into wanting to go to college, didn't make me go to college, he made me want to go and all that, he called and asked me to pay him back one day. He called and asked me, he said, you got to pay me back. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just started this. I don't know how much. I said, whatever you need, Judge, and he says, you've got to help others like I helped you. That was his request. And I thought, how big was that?
Exactly to Gilbert's question. We all have to help broaden everybody's horizon and teach them that, look, find a mentor. If you feel stuck, find a mentor to help you elevate up somewhere else. Who you hang around sometimes dictates your surroundings and your mental game, if you will. So, if you don't like what's going on, come sit down with Russ for a while. He'll straighten you out.
Yeah. And then you'll be very happy what you're doing. Say, wow, what he's doing. But the people that constantly are pushing for an agenda item of there's micro expressions. They don't treat me right. And they constantly are complaining about the situation that they're in. And they're making millions of dollars while they're doing it. And they feel like they're slighted or something. It is a problem in this country. We have a lot of it. But I think we keep exposing it. We keep talking about it. It's a recognition of where we really are. But I remember a talk show where Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey were talking about how terrible it is in this country to be black because they don't feel safe when they go to a grocery store. Thinking, you guys each have bodyguards and Secret Service. It's a little exaggerated, if nothing else, I guess, because they want to be part of the group.
Yeah.
But they push that agenda. Why do we push that?
Because people will listen.
It gets some sympathy. It gets some people that rally around them. You poor
Russ,
dear.
You're a business owner.
Yeah.
If you did an amazing job for somebody, how many people are they going to tell?
They tell some.
Okay. And if you did a horrible job and somebody felt slighted, how many people are they going to tell?
Everybody.
So you just said it. It's easier to get people and eyeballs and ears when you're saying negative stuff. Again, the news used to be just the news. Now it's the negatives.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw huge, optimistic, positive headlines on the top fold of a paper?
Well, they don't sell papers.
Okay. So second question, when did you see the top headlines on whether it's Fox, CNN, Newsmax? I don't care who it is. When did you see lots of positive, optimistic news?
It doesn't work for them to do that.
So back to your question, that's why they did it. That's what we need to help give people is perspective that it's not all negative.
And that's why Joy Reid and stuff, she does a podcast now. She got fired from CNN for being racist. She's a black woman. She's constantly, beating up on the racist issues. And she got fired and she's on a podcast, but she does that's the only game she knows. It's what gives her notoriety. It gives her something. And she's got to be a victim or she doesn't feel like she's complete.
And I would love to ask, you can sit in a studio with tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment, and you have friends and family and finances and investments, and that's how you feel.
Yeah.
That perspective is so jaded to me that, again, you go back to this country, we have the opportunity to go work any way we want. We have the opportunity to build relationships with people any way we want. And you could say, I'm going to go make a difference. Russ, you're doing this radio and this broadcast for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Have you become uber rich?
No. In fact, the radio, I did it for years for free, just as a service. I mean, I wanted to help. I wanted to help people.
And so are you ever on air talking victim of, oh my gosh, I didn't get paid. Oh my gosh, I put all this time in and nobody responds and appreciates me. No, but you appreciate the community and the camaraderie, and you get a lot of people asking you to do things like emceeing the event last night.
Sure.
Because of who you are. And that person who's doing the negative podcast, they're getting the positive reinforcement, even though it's all negative information. They're getting the positive reinforcement from their community.
I agree. They do. And they get, that's how they get attention. They get noticed. And that's their group. And to break that up is just to keep exposing it for what it is. I mean, it eventually broke up for Joy Reid that she, lost her gig with CNN because she wouldn't change.
And that wasn't whether she would change or not. I think that was enough people who actually put eyeballs and optics on what was going on.
And her viewership just kept dropping eventually.
So, Russ, when are we going to get your viewership up to 100,000 people?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Perfect. And do you have the phone number? I'm super concerned.
I don't.
You don't have the phone number.
No, I don't have the phone number to John Shattuck.
And you text Tanya.
No.
Did you just say no?
No, it's not. It's not Tanya.
But Tanya.
What?
Isn't that who's going to get you the phone number?
Oh, I text her. She hasn't woke up
yet. Yeah, she's up. Now she's just ignoring you.
I don't think so. And Stephen Shattuck hasn't.
I got it.
But we still have 5 minutes. So.
Yeah. I think you could probably call Tanya because I know what she's doing at 7.
Well, if I call her on air, you mean?
No, I would turn your phone off. I wouldn't put it on air because she might come back with some 4-letter words and say, "Why are you calling me this early in the morning?" Um,
Uh, I,
so this is the old theme for a carpenter: measure
What?
twice, cut
cut
once.
You know,
Russ,
I might
you told me you left your computer cord, your charger cord
at home,
at home,
which I
this
had a
morning.
spare, but I
But-
didn't need it after all because your equipment charges my computer automatically, and I was
which is why we need to work on the
saved me a lot of time.
the memory pills, because we had that conversation the first time. So deny it. Come on.
No, you said it for sure. It didn't register. It didn't register. I thought.
So back to the boy, I brought that full circle back to Gilbert's point. We have to continue putting spotlights on things until it registers, because sometimes when you say something to people, you don't just hear it and you don't embrace it, and it takes that second, third, fourth, 12th time. Again, I'm sure your fact checker has told you lots of things over and over, and it's the 13th time that you hear it that you actually.
He still stays very close though, because he's realized I'm still not quite with it yet on some issues.
It's like the dad with the hand to the adolescents, just walking them through the store. Just
I think at times it's more like a backhand. Whatever works. I got to take a break. I'm going to try to get a hold of Tanya and see if I can save my relationship with John Shattuck. We'll be right back. We're back with you, and no phone number for John Shattuck. So we're going to not have that call.
I think there's a game show sound that should be played right now.
For what?
The old wah, 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 wah. The Price is Right. You missed it thing.
Doesn't matter. We'll get a hold of him another time.
Okay.
I want to talk about taxes for a minute. This one confused me. This story confused me. I think everybody understands that nobody wants to pay taxes. I mean, I don't know a lot of volunteers
No.
that say taxes are great. We also understand that it's a necessity to run public works and different things like that. And we want our legislators and our people that handle this to do a good job. And I think we become more and more convinced that they're not.
Agreed.
We see more and more waste and fraud
Oh,
than ever, and taxes are still healthy enough, I guess, they're taking care of the waste and fraud, but we don't really want to.
I don't think people realize how much they actually pay in taxes.
But I want to talk about taxes after I talk to Carl. He just
Okay.
called in. Carl, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning.
What's
My
up?
2 cents for the day. I do not mind paying taxes.
Oh,
And I'll give the hospitality tax.
yeah.
Everybody that drives through Yuma and it spends a little money or leaves a little money here for us to do nice things for our city. What my 2 cents for the day is, I do not think that we should have the government stealing our money. That's the problem with the taxes, is the people that steal the money.
Yeah, you're right, and it's our elected officials that have control of that, and they've let us down. Republicans,
Yeah.
Democrats, we just don't do enough. And to see these people dancing like right now, like Newsom and Waltz, when they're getting caught with their hand in the cookie jar and blaming it on everything but themselves, is
Yeah.
just ridiculous. And we need to get through this and find people to put into place that are going to handle it. But I think the Democrats are happy with the crooks being elected in their state. They seem to be. They seem to embrace them, the Waltzes and the Newsoms.
It's amazing to me why you would just let them steal your money. You know, people don't like people stealing stuff from them, and that's what the government
No,
does.
no.
They charge as much as they can on the taxes so they can steal more.
Well, that seems to be what it looks like for sure. And
Well, yeah.
when we see what is happening with this child care thing, the elderly care in the states of Minnesota and in California, we know it's happening everywhere. Probably in the state of Arizona, maybe not to that degree, I hope, but it's a shame, and we need to go after it. And we got many
Yes.
politicians that won't. Look at the politicians that won't go after it. And same in here in the state of Arizona. The politicians in the state of Arizona won't go after voter fraud, even though we know it exists. And they won't go after it to find out to what extent or how big or how little. They just say, nope, perfect election. You can't do it. And it's a little partisan there. The Democrats.
You're talking about our county board of supervisors that won't take a
No,
look at
no,
the
no,
voter
no, no,
fraud?
no, it's not them.
I'm not talking about those people.
No, I was talking
Okay.
more at the state level when they wanted to do audits,
Okay.
and I'm talking about the governor and all that kind of stuff, where
Yeah.
they wouldn't do audits and won't look at the results, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it's the
Yeah.
same with the taxes. If you say, look, there's fraud, no, there's not, and you're racist to say there's fraud, and if you say, well, I think there's a problem with voting, we should audit it, and you're a denier, an election denier. I'm gonna start calling you names. It's a trend that needs to stop. We need to have these people take all these issues seriously and do a serious investigation, not these things that happens in Congress where the Republicans will ask questions that are biting and to the point, and the Democrats will say, "You're such a wonderful person," and give a 3-minute cheerleading for that person.
Here's what I'm going to do, Russ. We
What are
got
you
the Colorado River Tea Party is going to be having the trolley out at the fair this year. We're going to be at the 32nd Street gate. And what we're doing is a lot of different candidates. They're all invited to come down and talk to the people. And the first people that jumped on the bandwagon was our fantastic Mr. Paul Gosar.
Yeah. Well, that's great. He's going to be there. That's awesome.
Yes.
All
You
right.
know, when he found out what we were doing, he said, just sign me up. I want to be there, because he wants to come down and he wants to talk to the people and ask them, what can I do to help you guys?
Awesome. All right, buddy. Hey,
And Paul Gosar does that, because I asked him to help me do some stuff through the VA, and the man stepped right up. So
buddy,
these are the people. He's come down. Also, Daniel Bateras, I talked to him this morning, and he said, yeah, let's come down and let's have the people come in. I want to be down there a lot, but I'm going to make sure that on the 31st of this month, he's going to be down there to talk to the people and say, what can I do to help you stay keep Arizona red.
Real good. Well, Carl, I
And that-
appreciate the
and
call, man. I got to run, my friend.
Bye.
See you. Bye-bye. That's Mr. Carl.
Did you find a phone number yet?
Nope.
Oh,
But
you were feverishly looking at your phone. I thought you found one.
not yet, but it's going to happen. I want to get back to some of the taxes I was talking about, and that was it's in Chicago, where they raised a city hotel tax.
20%.
You read that?
You think you're
Well-
the only one who's up reading things
Well,
in the
I
morning?
think you do. But Carl mentioned our hospitality tax, which is something similar. It's a 2% tax we have for hospitality on those kinds of industries, restaurants and hotels and stuff, to pay for some of the features in town, like the Civic Center was the very first one. And now we have the travel industry. We pay a little bit on that. We pay for, I think the PAC came out of some of the hospitality, the Pacific Athletic Complex. And it's 2%. And it goes to the voters, and the voters do it. Well, city council raised it to 20% or 19.9, I think, or no, 19%, which I thought, wow, how outrageous. It was 17.5.
Yeah.
It was
So it-
17.5.
So it didn't go
It-
0 to 20. It went.
And this money, the reason they're doing it, it's kind of like the hospitality tax. It goes into a fund called Choose Chicago. Choose Chicago gets all this funds. And I don't know how much that's going to be, but when you start talking adding 19% to every hotel bill in the city, this is millions and millions of dollars coming in, you would imagine. So Choose Chicago is the city's official designation marketing organization. That's what they spend it on. It's a marketing tool.
So it's forced taking dollars from one person to go market, possibly for the benefit of another.
Well, what they're doing is marketing to get more people to come to Chicago for vacations and stuff.
But
Which-
that doesn't necessarily help certain hotel
Well,
purveyors.
technically it would. I mean, in fact, they're vying for the Democrat National Convention right now. And they says it's going to require $1 million. So they're paying the Democrats to come to their city for a convention, which it's going to open up restaurants, and everyone's going to get tons of business and all that kind of stuff. But they're paying $1 million, and then they charge 20% for the hotels. They'll be getting that money back. They're probably getting more than $1 million a month, I would imagine.
And that's within a certain district. It's not the entire city. It's within the
Oh
certain.
yeah. It's not going to hit South Side.
So, but you realize the second you put anything within a line. Now, I'm in the mortgage industry. You can't red line, you can't green line. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to say, I want to do things here, not there. As soon as they draw that line and say, we're going to charge 20% on this hotel, there's some smart business people who are thinking, you know what, if I moved my hotel, or we're just outside the way, or let's lobby that the district changes here, kind of like the Panera Bread thing with the tax. There's some people who are adjusting things to get in or out of that area.
Oh, ones that can. I mean, if you already got the building, you're kind of stuck.
Well, then you
Chi-
lobby the line.
Chicago said they need the money because they're in competition with other states that are wanting to attract, like the DNC, because Boston, Chicago, Denver, Philadelphia, it looks like they put bids into the DNC and say, I'll pay you this kind of money to come here and bring your convention, which I guess it's seed money because they bring a lot of money to the community. The DNC commented that they're going to select a city that shares democratic values. So I guess that's out in the open.
That's
That one kind of disturbs me. Like, well, you guys got to be very democratic for us. But most of the democratic cities have poop on the sidewalk.
I thought we were supposed to have American values.
No, this is democratic values. It gets worse. But
Oh,
not this article. Another one that's worse about this. But
Give it to me.
after I get there, I got to get this one done first. But the mayor, Brandon Johnson, he keeps pushing the press release. Now, this is the highest tax now like this in the country, and they're happy with it at 20%. He says, my administration will continue our collaboration with Choose Chicago As we continue to build up Chicago's tourism and hospitality industry while leveraging economic growth and development to continue building safe and affordable communities across our city. Who is this? Is the Chicago mayor, and Chicago is terrible.
Is
Defund police chief.
Is Choose Chicago a governmental organization? Is it a separate business that is doing this?
It's not a separate business. It's going to have to be the government because they're going to they're going to pay to get conventions into town. It's probably like our travel program. You know,
Just asking the question.
Yeah. And I'm guessing, but since they're paying for it and they're working with it, and the money, their tax dollars going right to this organization.
Well, it's kind of like, again, go back to your former career. When you were with that big conglomerate, did you have to pay into a marketing fee?
No.
Okay.
Well, I could.
In my old restaurant world, you paid so much in for marketing to the company, and then you paid your franchise royalties.
Right.
They got to determine where those marketing dollars were going. Now,
Right.
If you're in little old Yuma with one little old store, are you getting lots of marketing dollars back?
Well,
No. Because they're going up to Phoenix and Tucson, and you can't buy the advertising. So we paid the marketing and the franchise and still had to spend our own money on advertising here because they didn't do corporate marketing. Same thing here. If you're going to start taxing them 20%, wouldn't you rather be the purveyor to spend 20% on what you want to market?
Well,
just thinking.
Well, this is done by the city. You don't have a choice.
Exactly.
You're just
so it's
caught
a
up in
forced tax. So,
but
Russ,
again, this is about getting the right people in place.
Perspective. What was the tax rate when this country was started?
0.
Okay.
We started somewhere. 0.
We started at 0, and there were lots of things called tariffs. And then there was a point at which we all agreed it was about 3%, right? And you paid a tax. Now, how many taxes do you pay? It's not just the 20%, but you're paying sales tax, and you're paying income tax, and you're paying tax on the groceries that you just bought, and you're paying tax at the theater. So literally, how much of your money goes out the door in tax over a 12-month period?
You mean percentages?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people pay 50% or plus, you know, if you add it all up.
That's what I'm saying. So this is, and you know, the hotel is not going to pay it. Now they're just going to raise the bill 20% higher. It's not going to be from the hotelier.
But the joke of it is, I don't think Chicago is a destination point. So they're trying to buy their way in to get people to vacation there, to get conventions and to do all that, versus cleaning up the city and make it a destination point that people want to go to.
And you realize that that's just going to force more people away. Of
course, because it makes it more expensive.
Russ, the number. That's from Tanya.
Oh.
And I'm just going to voice text. He doesn't read his phone very often. I'll let him know on air right now. LOL.
I do have it.
You like that? So,
right,
see,
let's call him.
People listen. Thank you, Tanya.
Yeah, Tanya. I got to take it off of airplane mode.
And do you have the charging cable back on? Okay, you do.
It's ringing. He's going to have to answer it on air. What do you think?
I'm good with it.
Good morning.
Well, Representative Shattuck, Russ Clark, how are you, sir?
Good. And if you need to call me representative for the sake of the show, that's fine.
Well, I did it just, for the sake of the show.
We're John, right?
All right, John. We'll be that way from now on, man.
Speaking of which, do you go by Russell or Russ?
I go by Russ. And I've got someone in the studio with me that's Derek Egbert, but he just goes by Derek. He's he owns the building we're in, so we talk nice to him.
Oh, okay.
Good morning. How are you?
That works out well.
And I'm great.
And he was there last night, actually, at our Lincoln Day dinner, which we've been talking about a little bit. And
good.
And enjoyed having you in town. You know, I left your business card at my house. So that's why I'm late calling you. But Tanya texted to me, which I got.
Good.
I got it back. I even texted your son this morning to ask him for the number.
You did?
But I don't think he's awake yet.
He's awake. He's an early riser. He's like a 5:30 in the morning guy.
Well, he's ignoring me, but that's all right.
He could be at the gym, and if he's at the gym, he could be,
Yeah,
might have left his phone in the locker.
he probably will.
That's his routine.
I enjoyed last night, and from your speech
Good.
and from talking about it, a lot of your theme and of course you're basing your thought process, your observations on your employment as a representative, being able to travel and be able to see the countries and see other
Yep.
places in the world, to make that comparison to the United States on where we are at 250 years and compared to the other countries across the world and the problems that we have. How blessed are we, John?
We're pretty blessed, and the you're right. I'm blessed, like all Americans are blessed, and I think one of the greatest gifts you can get in life is to be born in the United States. But I'm lucky in that I not only got born in the United States, I got elected to Congress and was able to see how those other countries are, and to realize, how different we are, and how fortunate we are to have the freedoms that we do, and compare them with the rest of the world, including the economies of the rest of the world. So we're blessed.
Are we in danger of losing it? And I know that question comes up a lot. We went through we go through a lot of tough times throughout our history, but recently a tough time with we had social media had FBI directing them on what would be censored and not censored. I hope we're past all that. Are we still in danger, that we have to be that mindful to make sure we don't lose our freedoms?
I think we absolutely are. If you think about it, it was not that long ago that an administration in this country, backed by the President of the United States, was going to have essentially an agency of truth.
Yes.
And the government was going to issue rulings or statements, or maybe even take action when it deemed that somebody was not telling the truth. And that's probably, if you put aside war, that's probably the scariest thing that I've seen in terms of an example of the American people losing touch, and an American administration losing touch with what is the essence of this country. And I think we are very much at risk. And then you see Mr. Mondani's election, and people embracing socialism, even if he couches it in a different way, and ignoring the mountain of evidence that shows that the systems they advocate, socialism, communism, even just despotism, are mounting, and Americans don't just instinctively and instantly reject it. Yeah, I think we're in danger.
What's going to happen to places like New York City? I mean, what he's doing, it looks to me like financial ruin in the make. In fact, we have Governor Hochul out there asking for billionaires and millionaires to come back to and pay taxes in New York after she chased them away in 2022. She's saying, we don't need you, go away. Now she's saying, come back, because we need the millionaires to be patriotic and pay your taxes in New York.
Well, it's a part of the fundamental absurdity of their philosophy. They hate capitalism, and they hate productive people, and they think that the system can be structured to where people will pay taxes with no limit and keep working hard. And the reality is, if you listen to the experts or talk to any free market economist, they'll make it very clear that if you don't get paid for work, you're not going to show up. And if the government takes too much, you're just going to say, well, why should I be productive? And you are incentivizing all people to take rather than to produce. And I think those cities will suffer. I think those policies will fail. And with luck, people will figure out that communism, socialism, any system that takes from the productive to give to maybe not even the non-productive, but I'm all in favor of supporting those who need help, or who are handicapped, or who are struggling, or who don't have the gifts that enable them to make a good living and to pay their bills and live a good life. But when you have somebody like the former Speaker of the House saying that it's completely all right for somebody to choose not to work in their entire life, the story she told was if some young man wants to sit on the seawall and play his guitar for his entire life, he ought to be able to get free health care.
Wow.
Those systems just don't work.
Wow. No, well, and
No.
beyond that, beyond free healthcare or free childcare, it's just been exposed, the amount of fraud that's in the system, which is gut wrenching when they keep wanting to raise taxes. Did it surprise you that right now in Minneapolis, it looks like almost half of the government money that went to daycares were probably taken and stolen?
Right. So I'm a lifelong conservative Republican, kind of raised at the knee of my father, who was the speechwriter for Barry Goldwater and wrote a number of books about him. You'd think I would have been pretty steeled to the idea that there would be fraud if you create a system like we have in America. But to answer your question, I was stunned.
Yeah.
When you look at the amount of money, and the number of people involved and the scale, I think you have to be shocked. And the rest of us are just trying to get by and pay our bills, and a lot of us live paycheck to paycheck. And to learn that society has decided to help and support people, and the causes behind all of those programs, so far as I know, were worthy causes. But then to find out that they're just being abused, I guess my answer is I was stunned and saddened that would happen. And then you kind of come to the realization that in this instance, it appears that was a culture for the people involved, and they brought that culture here, which raises one of the issues involved in the immigration issue, which is, America once had the attitude of, bring us your tired, you're hungry, and those yearning to be free. But the idea was that people came here to adopt our way of life, to embrace the freedom we have, but then to embrace their opportunity to be productive. And then you find that today, at least some of today's immigrants come here not wanting to become Americans or to embrace our culture, but rather to bring, in at least some instances, policies or practices of where they came from, which are antithetical to what we believe in.
But John, we're enabling it. I mean, as a congressman, I mean, I'm sure a lot of policies.
I watched it. It is why I ultimately left. I believe the U.S. Congress is completely dysfunctional.
Okay.
And it's dysfunctional for fundamentally one reason. Members get elected to Congress today, and when I use a broad term like members, it's not all of them. Many of them are good people, but far too many of them get elected just so they can enjoy the adulation and the status of being in Congress. And I will tell you, the one thing that I was shocked by and that upset me the most was we were told and I believe this has been true now for years, maybe decades. We were told the only thing that was important was getting reelected. It wasn't balancing the budget, although we did that in my class of 1994. It wasn't ensuring America had a strong national defense. The most important thing we were told to accomplish was be sure you get reelected.
Wow.
And unfortunately, what the method that was prescribed was that means take home the bacon. And I was fortunate. I had a district where I didn't have to bring home the bacon, seek pork, and buy myself back into office because my district had enough philosophically committed people I could, and enough people that would listen to reason and see that government was wasting money. But lots of members don't view it that way. I heard a member stand up one day at a retreat and say what he did, and he was a member of Congress at the time. This was a retreat of members of Congress. And he said, from the moment I wake up in the morning until the moment I go to sleep at night, all I do, the only thing I think about is how I can bring home more taxpayer dollars to my district all day long, every minute of every hour of every day.
Wow. I guess I get some reelected.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Well, watching this thing, I'm as shocked as you. I would not have believed it would be as deep as it is. But I'm also disturbed by the way Tim Walz, the governor of that great state, is passing it off as business as usual almost, or unaware I'm doing my best, and alibi, not taking the blame for it, and not being outraged, more outraged that you keep asking him the question.
Well, I mean, that's what it has become today. In his mind, if he believes the purpose or the stated purpose is good, then, well, of course we should expect some waste. And why are we so upset about it? Was that, and in his mind, I'm not sure he's convinced it's waste. I mean, this, what was going on was enabling, albeit by our standards, crooked people, deceitful people, to steal from everybody else in the nation. But, it had gotten him elected, and some of that money was supporting families and doing things. So as long as their intent was to achieve some good, and it was distributing money that, it's government money, he's happy, and he's not about to wake up one day having embraced those practices or condoned them or looked the other way and say, wow, I was wrong. That's not what we believe in America. And so it drives me crazy when the Democrats, and I'll say that flat out, there are many, many Democrats, at least Democratic leaders, who will say the Republicans have no respect for the rule of law. And yet you see them, and it is truly the left that has no respect for the rule of law.
I agree, and I know that these that this money that comes from the federal government to pay for these programs comes with very strict guidelines. Like a daycare has to be inspected a couple times a year by the state that's responsible. They've got to keep the right hours. They've got to have playground equipment. They've got to have the right facilities. And none of that happened. Why is somebody not going to jail? Why is there not somebody handcuffed at the state that was responsible for checking and balancing these things, that blew it off for many years, decades, and never inspected? There was one that never got inspected in 7 years.
It's interesting to me that you're raising that question, a fully legitimate and valid question, in 2026, and the founders apparently understood the answer in 1776. They understood that an all-powerful government that could do everything that people wanted, could satiate the desires of everyone who didn't want to work and get money to them, would abuse its power and do wrong or not be accountable. What's the quote is, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the answer is, I think, that many of the people involved in that process found a way to rationalize it and say, well, I'm here to just administer these funds, and it's not my job to look any deeper. It's my job to just send the checks where they're supposed to go and fill out the forms. And, if I claim I've inspected some daycare center and I haven't been able to actually do it, well, come on. A lot of it, I think, is a breakdown in societal values. We have as a nation drifted away from God and from the moral precepts of the moral beliefs that we had as a nation. And of course, we're following Europe in doing that and walking right along behind them. So that's at least my first response to how could it all happen and why didn't somebody stop it sooner?
While we're talking about all our problems and these problems exist and all that, we still manage to be the strongest and greatest country in the world.
Isn't it amazing? Isn't it just amazing?
Yeah. I look at it and say, well, how good can we be?
Yeah. Well, we, as you know, with all of our flaws and with all of our defects, we just keep forging ahead. And I think that is an illustration of the goodness inherent in mankind, notwithstanding the evil or the corruption. And this country is built around the idea of allowing people the freedom to do what they want to do and to succeed or fail and then try again has produced more wealth and more happiness and more productivity than any system known to man. And it's why, at least I hope, on our 250th anniversary, people slow down and take a look and say, wow, compared to, and it's why I brought up those other nations that still have despotic rulers who rule by oppression and rule by killing their own citizens. Look at what Iran did leading up to the protesters leading up to this war. It shows you how incredibly different and better the system we have created and embraced is than those that are pointed to as being better by the woke left.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the SAVE Act, the act that they're discussing right now in the Senate that seems to be very hyper partisan?
I am absolutely a fan of requiring people to present identification when they register and when they vote. I have, like I suppose, lots and lots and lots of Americans, I have my own life now. I'm not a member of Congress, and I don't study each of these bills. What has happened from my perspective is that they've put in a hodgepodge of other things, many of which may be good ideas, but I don't know the SAVE Act well enough to know that I am a fan. I would hope Congress would pass it, notwithstanding that, but I absolutely believe in the kind of the central idea, which is you don't have a nation if you have no process to confirm who is voting. If you let anybody who walks in the door of the voting center vote without checking who they are and whether they're citizens or not, you have by definition said, well, we're not a nation. We may be a neighborhood. We may be a physical location, but we are not limiting those who decide the issues of who will represent us, a representative government. We're allowing that decision to be influenced by anybody who wants to, and who, by the way, can walk in that door in one location and then at another and then at another and then at another and cheat as goes on in some places in this country. I think in California, from what I have heard, ballot harvesting is just rampant. I mean, literally controlling elections. Stories about thousands of ballots showing up with only one office marked. That tells you who sponsored those ballots. And so I am absolutely in favor of having reasonable limits so that we know who is making the decisions in the country. And I hope that, and let me not create the impression that I don't support the SAVE Act. I support it because the way the system works, they often put together packages and make it possible to get multiple issues in front of members of Congress so that they can be forced to go or required to vote on certain issues and then held accountable for it at the ballot box. But unfortunately, we've drifted away from even a principle as fundamental as knowing who's voting.
Yeah, but
and assuring who's voting.
The good news is the people understand it because all the polls show, I think 85% of the people.
Isn't that unbelievable? How can that not pass?
Yeah, that's and we got 100% of the Democrats in the Senate, less one, saying we're not going to pass anything like that. It's just amazing to me that the agenda items are just very visible. They don't care anymore. They're not hiding now.
Well, it amazes me, as I mentioned last night, I grew up in a household where political philosophy and public policies were discussed all the time. Senator Goldwater, before he was even in the Senate, was a friend of my dad's, and they would literally sit in our living room at home, and I would listen. And what is stunning to me is that we have lost that one consensus, which is that, look, we're all Americans and we are in theory, ascribe to the beliefs and the reasoning and the structure and the policy set forth in the U.S. Constitution, free speech and freedom of religion and all these other things, and that we no longer as a group seem to identify with and support our fellow Americans because they are Americans. And so you have what is the serious problem, and that from my point of view is you have so many people in the other party who don't embrace just fundamental common sense. So, for example, the Democrat Party says we should allow men, at least biological men, to compete against women in sports, meaning a young woman who wants to win a medal in her chosen sport has no chance. She can't ever hope probably to be first, second, or third. And yet that's defended as a rational policy. Yeah. And then you discover that I started out talking about Senator Goldwater. He was, of course, labeled extreme. He was an extremist. And you and I are old enough to have remembered the nuclear bomb exploding in the commercial run against him in 1964.
Very well.
And yet today I would argue that the Democrats, the left, is the party of extremism. And you can cite the example I just cited of allowing men to participate in women's sports, but you can go beyond that and say, the policy advocated by the other party is that children in school should be able to change their sexual identity and be assisted in that without telling their parents, and the school is required to assist them in that deceit. I mean, if that's not a radical or an extreme policy, I don't know what is. And you can go on and on. For example, the left openly advocating that you should not be required to show identity either when you register or when you vote. Um, I don't know of any other nation, any other democracy in the world where that goes on. I understand that many countries in Europe have much more rigid rules regarding who can register and who can vote in their elections than we do.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard to understand how we've gotten where we are.
Yeah, it is. Sir, I'm running out of time. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming to Yuma yesterday and helping out with the Lincoln Day dinner. I think that was a tremendous success.
Well, I was happy to do it. It was a good cause. I hope they raised lots and lots of money, and I hope that the people in your audience think about these issues, because Arizona was a solidly Democrat state when I was very, very young, or before that. Some of my heroes are people like Carl Hayden, who was a Democrat, and even for lots of things, the Udalls or Senator DeConcini. We've had lots of great Democrats from this state, and it's kind of like they used to say that Reagan claimed that he didn't leave the Democrat Party, he left the Democrat Party left him.
Right.
I think we need to slow down and focus on those things that are, at least I would argue, common sense, and that we can find agreement on, because the American people want the government to do its job, and all it's doing now is bickering.
I completely agree. I think the only Democrat I see out there that I really think speaks his mind or what he sees is really true is Fetterman.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And when I first observed him coming on the public screen, or being out there and speaking out, I thought, oh no, one more. But he is stunning. He is so impressive, and so much just simple logic.
Yep.
We need we need Republicans like him and more Democrats like him.
I agree with you. Well, John Chaddick, thank you so much for spending the time, and have a great day, my friend.
My pleasure. Enjoyed it. Take care.
Bye-bye. So we did get a hold of John Chaddick, thanks to
Tanya.
Well
done, Tanya.
Yeah,
and Russ, thanks for finally paying attention to your text.
I do have, I looked at it after you told me to. I would. But it was great for John Chaddick to come in yesterday and drive down here and be a part of our program. Pretty wonderful.
Good perspective. And again, I think some of the things that you guys were just talking about is nothing has been perfect, but my gosh, the amazing opportunities we have in this country, and how much better could we make it? And you go back to the moral and ethical point. If everybody operated from that more moral and ethical point, would all of that fraud have happened?
No.
And that's it. Look, you can say that person over there needs to do something. That person shouldn't have. Wait a minute. Everybody. It's not just one person who should have controlled it. It's everybody there. And so it's not just the person who's running the daycare that was leaning center, not learning center, but everybody who's willing to use those funds on down the line. And I think that's why it seems like Walz is defending some of it, because they like the fact that all of those monies, those dollars, were spent within their communities and their states.
He does seem like, and he seems incredulous when he's asked details like,
so.
Well, we're putting the criminals away and all that. What are you talking about? We're working hard and
Not working on anything. But
no.
But the accepting is everybody who touched those dollars was in some way supporting it. So even if you knew the fraud happened, whether you're the inspector, whether you're the owner, whether you're somebody who's getting paid to deliver something there, you're actually part of the problem, because you were complicit in accepting those dollars.
Right. And the people that work for the government that are signing off that these things are legit, they're accepting it all. They have to see. They're not blind. And Nick Shirley can just walk down the street and just see it all. And yet the people that are professionals can't.
And now that seems to be a fraud for profit.
Yeah.
You see all the laws that are on the books. We don't even need new laws for that. It literally is. There's a conspiracy there, and I don't want to overuse that word, but the global conspiracy to take those billions of dollars and put them within a state or community, and how many people were complicit in it. That's the frustrating
Untold
part.
number. There had to be a lot of people.
So I would have expected Walls to be through the roof frustrated that people within his good state, because there's some great people in Minnesota, great people, but they all were willing to be complicit in that.
Waltz never talks of it in those terms.
I know that's the problem.
He doesn't say, well, we got to clean house at that office. We got to find out what's going on. He doesn't say that at all. He just says, oh, we're working hard.
Because what I think they're saying, in my perspective, without saying it, is they know how high it goes up. So you can't say we're going to clean house, because as soon as the Nick Shirleys do more investigating and see how many people had fingers in that pot, it's going to be eye-opening.
Yeah.
So
Chuck Norris died.
Did he? I did not see that.
Yeah.
When?
Today or yesterday. Just came out. He was 86, but he didn't look 86.
No. You look 86. He did not look 86.
Thanks for that.
I did not see that. And he has been a health nut since day one.
And he looks like he didn't age. He apparently had some health thing or emergency in Hawaii. Suffered a medical emergency in Hawaii earlier this week.
Wow.
Don't know what that was.
Had not seen that. So did that just come over your phone, or was that something you
Edward sent it to me. I got a couple messages on my YouTube about it, that he died. And Edward sent me the article. It just says medical emergency a week ago, and now he passed.
Pushed discipline, pushed health and fitness, some obviously his acting and his enthusiasm for that physicalness, amazing to watch him on screen. But I go back to, he really, and he turned it into a career there. He did so much for the fitness industry at a time that there wasn't a lot of fitness products. Remember all the things that he had on TV? Yeah, I think you probably owned one of those elevated benches with the cables that you could.
I don't know one of those, but he was definitely promoting that.
Yeah,
and he was really a martial arts guy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just for the movies.
No,
he really did that. In fact, he was trained by one of the guys in San Diego. I think it was in San Diego when I lived in San Diego. We met one of his trainers. I got something from Edward that he's trying to help me out and send me off to an education opportunity, and in the city of Istanbul, where he grew up his dad sent him there into a concentration camp for about 8 months or so.
I think you should do it.
Actually, it's not really a concentration camp on purpose. It was working on the metro, tunneling through rock and everything. He thinks it might help me
with focus,
maybe
memory.
Maybe.
Where's John Shattuck's business card?
Yeah. He said, I'll be a better man.
Okay. Do you need help packing your bags?
Oh, man, no, I'm not going. Don't tell Edward, though.
I'm sure he's listening at this point.
Don't tell him. I don't think I got time for that to go there. But and I'd be careful what I'd say. Like if I said that sounds good, I'd probably find myself on a plane tomorrow. So I'm not saying that.
I don't actually think that, because you'd lose the paper airline ticket and you'd forget.
No. I'd find a way to get there.
Okay.
It's Tanya. She's awake. Good morning, Tanya.
Hey, good morning. That was a great interview with Congressman Shattuck.
I like Congressman Shattuck. I do. He so I enjoy talking to him. Thanks for getting me his number. I left it on the table at the house. I'm on about 2 hours sleep, but I'm okay other than that.
Yeah, my mind was just rushing all night long. It was so interesting. I'm like, I need some rest. I'm tired, but
yeah. Tanya,
anyway,
Well
Yes.
done. Well done yesterday.
That's
top,
Derek this
top
morning.
to bottom, soup to nuts. That was a phenomenal event. And I hope you hear it enough, but boy, did you put on a class act last night.
I-
Well, thank you. And Russ, I I owe you the closing statement. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize until I got home that we forgot.
What was?
Or did
Oh yeah, the
I
the
forget?
video. The video. I know.
Yes.
Um,
I need to send it to you and then you can play it on air because even if it's just audio, it is amazing.
it
We
it
had
is.
awesome closing remarks from President Trump
Yeah.
addressing America 250 and its birthday. So I just couldn't believe. I was distracted. I was talking with Sergio, and then all the teens were like, "Do we need to start cleaning up and all this stuff?" And I just spaced. I was like, "Oh
Well,
no,
we all
this would have
did.
been like the grand finale."
We ended up getting out of there about a half hour late, which really that was just because it took so long to serve the food. Mostly, that just put us a little behind, but it was actually out. That was excellent. It was well timed. It was excellent.
Well, just remember, this is probably the biggest crowd that we have had in
Yeah.
recent years.
Right.
I have been attending the Lincoln Day dinner since 22, and well, I did skip last year because I was out of town leading the Teen Pact week, and it overlapped with the date. But this was the largest crowd, and maybe we need to have more helpers, or maybe double up on serving tables or something. We'll come up with a better plan.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think about it because it hadn't been a problem in years past, but we just have
It
two
wasn't bad
line.
at all. I mean,
Nah, wasn't too bad.
we did put together the photo up in the TARS table in those locations specifically where people would be in line to give them something to do. So I think it was good.
Yeah.
It was good to have those people were able to take pictures and commiserate with each other, and I think it was fun.
And we have so many generous people too that helped out with the auction. I was really pleased. A lot of fun people in the crowd. A lot of great leaders.
Yeah, it was really fun, and I don't have our final numbers yet because obviously the treasurer is putting all of that
Really?
together
What are you doing since
for
midnight?
the
Come on.
I don't do numbers. I don't do the
Oh,
numbers.
okay.
But I know that the teen Republicans, Yuma teen Republicans, made out like bandits
They
last
really
night.
did. They really did.
The 50-50 alone was $610. Then County Supervisor Lines surprised them with that $1,800 rifle.
Yes.
So all the proceeds went to them. And then we had Jeff Stoner donate $500, Danny Bryant donate $1,500 to the Yuma Teen Republicans.
Amazing. And then there's such a great program that
Yes.
they've really just blossomed, and it's fairly new. It's only a couple years old, and they've really.
We started it. Neil Bowman and I are co-founders. He's the chairman of the club, and Beth helps him with the administrative stuff. I am quote unquote co-founder and senior advisor, or I can't remember what my title is, but I'm in there somewhere. And I help lead. I was training them for the Lincoln Day dinner. They did amazing last night.
Yeah.
Just helping, serving, watching the tables, and they loved handing out the cookies. I can tell you that because those cookies were awesome.
Tanya, can I ask two questions? Number one, where did you find the idea for the cookies? And would you tell everybody what you did for the centerpieces on the tables? Because that was phenomenal.
Yeah, the cookies, I was just thinking, what can we do for dessert? And Bonnie Knight was in charge of the silent auction items and the dessert. And she just kept hitting walls. She was trying things that we had tried in years past, and it kept falling through, or the pricing was too high. We couldn't get things donated or at a discount. So we were just struggling with that. And I said, let me see about some cookies, because in 2020, well, first off, my husband and I have the same birthday, and it's on October 31st. He's 4 years older than I am, but we still share the same birthday. We had a MAGA birthday party. It was days before the 2020 election. So the entire party was MAGA, all Trump, everybody dressed patriotic. It was really awesome. And we got fantastic MAGA Trump cookies. And so I thought, what if we do something like that, but with the America 250? And so I just started looking and asking around, and somebody recommended this lady. You can send her any design that you want, and she'll get it on the cookie. And she did a phenomenal job. We had 4 designs, one with the Yuma County Republican Party logo, one with the official America 250 logo, one with a design that Josh Pembleton sent in with also America 250, but it looks more like one of those challenge coins, and then one with the American flag. And they were delicious too.
Oh, yeah, I ate mine.
Yeah, Russ ate mine too. I didn't get
I
one.
was going to try, but yeah.
But the centerpieces, though, you put a lot of thought and energy into the actual decor. For everybody who wasn't there, what did you do on the centerpieces?
We had 20 tables. Well, at least I was sure that we were going to fill them with 10 people at each table. And I took 250 from our America's birthday, divided it up into 20 tables. And so I got a year range for each table. And then I started researching what were important things that happened during those years, who were important people during those years, who was president, or, things like that. And I started to put together the centerpieces where there were some elements that were the same across the board. Like every single table had the gold glittery 250 numbers, and every table had those little super cute mini picture frames and the twinkle lights. But every centerpiece was different and unique in that it focused on that year range. So as you walked along all the tables, you would see what just America's history, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It was really special. I had fun because there were some heart picture frames, and I would put some of our beloved presidents in those, and the flowers were all red, white, and blue. But I did a variety. Some had only red, some had only white, some had only roses, and things like that. Those are the things that really add that special touch and details, but it's also something that I love to do. I love creative things, but I don't have the time to do them just for fun. It's almost like I have to have it for a special event or something to get it done, but it's therapeutic to me. I really love
I need
the
therapy. Maybe I
crafting.
should do that.
Russ needs a lot of therapy. But Tanya, very well done. Again, from the audience's perspective, that was a top to bottom class act. So thank you for doing all of that work. That had to be a ton.
Thank you. Well, our country and the fact that it's the 250th birthday behooves us to do our best and to really honor that, because with every single element we try to honor our country and those that have been making it great, such as, for example, Josh Pembleton explaining about the missing man table and things like that. It just made it that much more special to realize that this is a very special country. If we don't have America, where do we go? There's nowhere else to go. We need to protect it. We need to love it and appreciate it. And is it perfect? No, but it is the best place on earth. I really do mean it. I will say something. I was sad to see that live auction item with Dinner with Edward go, especially because I'm going to be in DC in May.
Oh,
But it went to, a good cause, and maybe I can get 5 minutes with Edward when I'm in DC in May. And
well, I'll ask him. We'll see if we can get that done. But I know
that
that
would
it
be,
was Marissa, I think, about it, that she is so looking forward to it. I know
yes,
Edward
it's
is
going to
already,
be amazing.
yeah, I mean, he's already putting it on the calendar and stuff and looking to see if he can accommodate her. She wants to do it this week. I don't know if he can, but he's looking into that right now.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, I'm going in May. I'm going to be doing a training all week long. And then I'm flying my husband and my children out just for a few days to be there for some special events, and just for the experience, to say we were in DC right before America's 250th.
Oh,
You know,
everybody should make that trip anyway, Tanya.
I think so too. Just maybe not in July, because that's going to be really busy already
You're
as it
from
is.
Yuma. You're tough. It doesn't matter. We'll be all right. You know what real
I'm
heat
not.
is. Yeah.
Well, yes, I'm just thinking the 4th of July.
Yeah.
It's going to be the actual birthday, and a lot of people are planning on going there.
Yeah.
But I'm going for other special events in May, and I think that that's going to be just as special.
Good luck getting a
And
hotel there during July 4th. I think they're already booked.
oh, I
would assume.
know. Yes. But I haven't been to DC in 20 years, 18 years.
Wow,
I don't remember
you
how
were a
long, but it's been
baby.
a long time.
Awesome.
I'm older than you think, Russ.
All right. Well, I appreciate all your help, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Take
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Tanya. Talented young lady.
Very much so. Very driven.
Yeah. She's hardcore though.
Well, she kept you in check. So
Yeah, that's it. That's what
speaks
I mean. She's
volumes.
hardcore. She
Yeah.
just, get this done, Russ. Which we get it done. I got to take a break. We'll be back. And I keep wanting to say AM 560. Would you get that fixed so we could do that?
Just say Mortgage One Studios Russ Clark Show.
All right, we just did. All right, we're back, and Derek, you've been able to stay in this whole day. I mean, the whole show so far. You've been here.
Am I not
usually,
supposed to? Do you want me
no,
to
I,
leave?
I like that you can,
Okay.
but I know you have like a mortgage company to run.
Yeah. The good news is that kind of spins up about 8 in the morning. So, again, staff's coming in, but we still have look, here's the perspective. We have this amazing country and we have these amazing opportunities. And you and I have the ability to sit here and do your show
Sure.
in a facility that we'd already built. So, yeah, there's a lot of things to do mortgage wise. There's a lot of things to do looking at what the market's doing, helping people with their stuff. But this is just as important as my business because your show and your connectivity to the community, I don't know that you realize the impact that you've had. I'm sure you do, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who want to see you back broadcasting all over the place.
It's been, it's humbling, and I don't think about it. I'm in the studio by myself. I'm in the studio with a couple people. I don't see everybody. I don't realize how many listen, but it's positive, and I hope to bring information. I hope to bring things out that they wouldn't otherwise.
Well,
have
I think you
opportunities
do
for.
it. If you look at all the stories, you generally are not colorizing it one way or the other. You're talking about the facts and you talk through it. And I think the theme, especially last night with the America 250 in perspective, and kind of what Tanya talked about both there and on air, is we have the ability to go make a difference, and we have the ability to influence people in the right way. And you said something last segment where you had a mentor,
Right?
And somebody who challenged you to be better, didn't force you, just kind of invited you along and helped grow you that way.
Absolutely.
How many people don't take that opportunity to grow and mentor other people, A, because they're not comfortable with it, or B, don't think that they have the
I don't
choice?
know, and it would have been foreign to me had it not happened to me.
Right.
And then when I had the direct challenge by that person to tell me, you owe me, pay me back by giving to others.
And so,
like, wow.
So guilt is a wonderful thing, is what you're telling me.
It was not, I don't know that it was guilt. I agreed with it. I thought, that's awesome. I mean, and so since that day, and that's been many years ago.
You know what you call that? That's called the two-step close. I'll do this for you. Now you have to do this for me. And he closed you like nobody's business.
It was a request, but it was about helping the communities, helping people, helping others, and that's not hard to get that done.
Yeah,
really.
So back to again, all of the things that you're doing. There's certainly mortgage things that I need to go do, but this is just as important from a community perspective. And so was being there last night. That was a phenomenal event. You did a great job emceeing it. Even though sometimes your hearing aid and the microphone feedback looped.
I didn't have a hearing aid problem. Let's take a phone call. We got Jonathan Townsend on. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Russ. How you doing?
We're doing well. What kind of trouble are you causing?
Well, I was on my way to Lincoln Day event yesterday, right outside of Lake Havasu. I lost my water pump. I was coming down to see you guys.
Oh, okay. Well, you're allowed in anytime. Yeah.
Well, I'll be back down this Sunday.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say to Derek there, I appreciate what you're doing for Russ as well. Russ, when you lost the radio show right there, that's exactly what motivated me to bringing you on the Q broadcast. Just, getting you out there to a great audience. And, what Derek there is doing is amazing. And, I think it's going to go very well for you, my friend.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I know Q, and I don't talk about it enough. I don't understand it all as well. The Q, and it's spelled like the cue ball, is a television service that you subscribe to, and you said just put your show on that, and we have been. I don't know what the results are in listeners or viewers. I have no idea.
Well, you've had over you've got a big audience on Q broadcast now on television.
Okay.
So I'll show you the analytics when I get down there on Sunday.
You keep track of that stuff. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's more than
tells me
just
what
my
I
family then.
need to do. Yep. So it tells me what I need to do and not need to do.
Okay.
So, and right now, the crowd that you're bringing on Q broadcast is huge. So that's great.
Well,
but like I said, I'll show you the analytics when I get down there on Sunday. I think it'll probably blow your socks off.
all right. Well, I look forward to it. We'll share it with Derek. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All
and
right.
then, and for those of you that don't know what Q stands for, it stands for Communication Unites Everyone. That's what this business stands for. So, and then I also sent you over the thing on Q. You can check out, Russ, where you can share it with your audience time to time if you want.
Sure.
And that's where people can sign up for $69 without a contract for unlimited television.
I'm interested in learning more about it. I've glanced at it briefly, but I really haven't looked at it all completely.
Russ, Sunday, you should bring Jonathan in here and do a little soft side conversation on the opposite side of the studio, because we never show that side.
Yeah,
see, I just made him work, Jonathan.
The studio that we're in is actually very nice, very big. We've been sitting at this table with the higher chairs, but there's actually two very comfortable looking, cushy lounge chairs over there. That's a separate part of the studio with cameras on it too. We could, and their own microphones, the whole bit.
I will meet you up here. Open the studio.
You
let's
do
go.
that.
I don't. Russ, get out of your pajamas Sunday morning and let's
Jonathan.
go.
All right.
I love it.
All right, Jonathan.
All right, gentlemen. Well, maybe we all can go to breakfast Sunday and then do some talking.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
So, but I'll let you know when I get in town.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah, the Q thing would be nationwide.
So you see how that works, though? I just convinced you to get out of your pajamas and now go to breakfast.
And the problem is you did it on air, so I
did.
Yeah.
That's called entrapment. Yes, or guilt.
I don't do the guilt thing too much.
No, but it worked.
No, okay. I don't care. I don't care about that. I know you've been reading news. You still do.
I do.
Do you know about the Iranian Olympian wrestler
that they murdered? Yep.
You do know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to work harder.
I just figured you needed a good sounding board. I'm absolutely amazed and disappointed that happened. And when I say amazed, that you could still have that happen in the globe today, and there's not more outrage of that within our society and our country, that literally an Olympian wrestler was murdered for their beliefs.
Well, he was protesting. It's a 19-year-old man that was hung
in public
hanging, and along with two other men, they hung them together, but they I think being accused of killing two police officers during nationwide protests earlier this year. That's the accusation. But this guy was a wrestler. Now, I don't know if this guy really murdered two police officers.
And there's the problem. We'll never know the story other than he is now deceased.
Well, there's the amount of people that have come in to write about this that are Olympic champions themselves that feel camaraderie with this guy is amazing. It's really shocked the sports world.
The sports world. But see, there's that adverb adjective thing. We've colorized it. We framed it. It's shocking the sports world.
Correct.
Why is that not shocking to the entire globe, the entire country of the United States?
Here's why. Here's why. When we read the newspaper and we see that there's been a shooting or something that's gone on that's horrific and terrible, and like it's outside Chicago or something, that somebody that was dealing drugs, there was a shootout and 3 people died, we don't feel connected to it.
Nope.
We don't feel like it affects us. Oh, good. The thing that affects us is if it's a random guy that's an entrepreneur and a good guy on his way to work in the morning, and he gets mugged and murdered. Now that affects us. We start thinking about it. Or if it's somebody that's in our industry. Now these people are wrestlers. I mean, these are all Olympic gold medalists and stuff that are like, oh my goodness, this can happen to an Olympian. It can happen to a wrestler and all that stuff. They feel connected. They feel connected. A lot of times we don't understand. We don't connect. In fact, sometimes we're relieved when we say two people were murdered and we, oh my gosh, what happened? They said, well, they were members of the cartel gang. Oh, whew, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect the guy that's just working hard for a living that doesn't get involved in illegal activity.
Yeah.
And that's why they feel connected to it. So it's sad for all of them, and it brings down. It's a good thing that it gets some attention, but that's typical. You know, look in Iran, I get corrected on that. They supposedly murdered 30 to 40,000 protesters that went into the streets and said, "We don't like what the government's doing. We object to the problems," and they murdered 30 to 40,000. People mention it and they say, "Oh yeah, you're at about 30,000. That's too bad." And they say, "What's for lunch?" You know, it doesn't affect you as much because it's just something we've read. They
Well,
feel connected because they know this guy. They know him.
and there's a picture of his face.
Yeah.
And you think of, remember the Tiananmen Square,
Yeah.
the
Very
young
famous.
man's, okay. But we felt that because you saw the image of the tank and you saw the image of that person.
It was dramatic and it
And-
was
And unfortunately, for whatever reason, we've all become so numb that, do you remember what it felt like on 9/12?
yeah,
How
silent.
silent and connected we all were as a society, and you were American that day.
Correct.
And but it was emotional and you saw it, and it was framed that this is a thing. You're holding up a picture of this Iranian wrestler who has been murdered. There's a little connection. You don't see any pictures of the 30, 40,000 people that were murdered that were protesting.
Right.
That's the problem, is we've all gotten so
We can't relate to it though.
we're numb because there's so much negativity coming at us all the time. Look at the front page of any news organization, any newspaper. It's literally negative, negative, negative. And if it's a positive story, it's spun as a negative, as clickbait.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I mean, I've got the newspaper here. I bet we can go through there and find out where some kid got a trophy for something or did well.
Page
that happens
17 on the bottom
Yeah,
left.
it's not going to be for front
No.
page. You don't generally.
So
But Cesar Chavez was front page yesterday. Let me see. Today, Martinez hits 103. I'm trying to look for something positive on the front page.
there isn't, because
No.
good news doesn't sell.
Well, there is
Good
one
news
here.
doesn't sell.
The Amazon distribution center had a ribbon cutting. That's positive.
Okay.
That's on the front page. But
Well-
you're right. It's not the headline.
How big?
That's right. Right on the front page on the
Okay. So bottom fold,
yeah.
3x4.
Well, that's a local newspaper and
Nope.
stuff, but it has some. They always
Hold
have
on.
some.
Is there even a picture of the ribbon cutting?
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. So there's a picture.
It's got
And
Doug Nichols in
well, that's why,
it.
you know, he looks like he's lost some weight too.
Yeah.
Way to go, Mayor. But again, you look through this. If I flip through all these pages, how many do you think are good stories?
Well, the higher percentage is going to be something that's going to be a problem or negative till you get to the sports page. And then it's depending on what your team is, whether it's a
Law
good story.
enforcement, highest record temperatures,
Yeah.
repealing things,
But-
accused killers.
but- Look, Derek, you're not going to read that the airplanes landed all safely today. And,
Exactly.
you're not going to be able to read that. It's boring because things happen as they should. These are exceptions to what should.
Then the exception should be when there's 30 or 40,000 protesters killed, we should have way more outrage to that.
Possibly, but it's a foreign country that we don't have a lot of connection to, so it's not going to be a front page for us necessarily. Although it may have been in some publications.
And when there's like athletes or hung in, we have way more outrage.
Yeah, it wasn't in our public.
You get some sleep. That
you know,
that yawn was
I-
a little
I got
much.
a couple hours yesterday. And actually, you know, one thing that my cardiologist told me is, you know, you got to get good sleep.
And last night was probably not good sleep.
Probably an exception. It's not going to be
Well,
the
it's
rule.
because you weren't supposed to lift anything heavy, and you lifted those
There's-
50-pound
There's
speakers.
going to be a nap today.
Is there?
I guarantee.
From like 9:15 to about 3?
I don't know if I'll get home or not. It may be right there in that chair.
That's fine.
I don't know.
I'll just wake you up Sunday for your interview with Jonathan.
But I'm glad you heard about the Olympian. I mean, and I felt saddened by it because reading the story and the connection to all these other wonderful Olympians and medal winners that felt connected to him and the loss they felt.
Here's what it means to me as perspective. You and I have the ability to go protest whatever we want.
Yeah.
We can put things on signs, we can stand on corners, even if they're mostly untrue. You can go do those things. And here, my read of the story is he was protesting and now he's dead. Now, I've seen some of the talk that maybe there was police officers. I don't know. I'm just saying, when you have 30 or 40,000 people who are killed protesting with government snipers on buildings, that's a problem. Now, we don't have that perspective here because we get to go protest anyway.
That's how their government keeps control.
Correct.
That is the government format.
And that's what I wish more people actually had some humility with, is we are allowed to protest here. And it is our God-given right to go do that here. And whether you like the person who's protesting or not, they still have the ability to protest. Whether you're on the left or the right, you're on the red or the blue, both parties have the ability. And it is interesting that sometimes people feel like only I have the right to protest and you don't. And
right, there's a cancel culture out there.
And you look at that and you say, wait a minute.
Well,
why are you allowed to, but I'm not?
We saw it in New York, where there was a guy identified as a right-wing type radical that was out protesting, saying that Muslims should not pray in public. Now, it's nothing I can relate to. I would not join that protest at all. And it looked like it was very small, if not just a lone wolf. I don't know. But because what you just said about there's people out there that want to stop you from using your right to vote, two teenage adults took the time to travel into the city after they made homemade bombs to blow everybody up because they didn't want to allow that protest.
Right.
That's amazing.
Now, I'm going to go one level worse. Think of the cancel culture we as a government supported with COVID, quote unquote, misinformation. You canceled people's right to speak when a lot of these guys and gals who are very well-educated doctors and medical staff had the right information. And we canceled
those doctors
and
the patriot doctors.
You canceled those people who were actually speaking the truth. And it's a dangerous thing when you stop allowing people to
But they did it for profit.
Oh.
So are we
Personal
we're
gain.
a capitalist country. You can do that you can't do that for profit. It's insane.
Yeah.
And because they lied about the effectiveness of ivermectin, which we knew helped. It's an antiviral.
Did you just see what Alberta, Canada did with ivermectin?
What'd they do?
It is now illegal for a doctor to give it to cancer patients.
Why?
Look, because I'm sure it's about money as well, but look it up, front page yesterday. Alberta, Canada just made it illegal for a physician to prescribe ivermectin to cancer patients.
You know, when they invented ivermectin or discovered it, whatever it is, in the 70s, they won awards for this wonder thing because it had so many good properties. It was antiviral and stuff that it was wonderful medicine, and they won awards for it. Now they ban it
because it's inexpensive to produce.
Yeah, there's no money in it.
But again, look that up. It's amazing how, again, cancel. Why, if there's any right to try,
they call it horse medicine.
But if there's any right to try, you're telling me that it's now illegal. But go to jail if you prescribe that to your patients.
But Canada has socialized medicine. Do you know it's illegal in Canada to practice medicine if you don't work for the government? You can't have an independent medical shingle. 2 places in the world to do that. That's Canada and North Korea. So that's why all the hospitals in the United States on the border are filled with Canadians.
Yeah.
They travel to United States because you can't go to an independent doctor in Canada. They have tight control over it.
And why?
Well, because they offer free health care, and that's the only health care they're allowed. And they don't want competition. It would look bad for them.
So breaking news, helping cancer patients is now illegal in Canada as Alberta Premier Danielle Smith punishes over 9,000 cancer patients for exercising their right to try with ivermectin. And that hit the front pages yesterday.
It doesn't really say why, like it's dangerous or we feel that.
I didn't see anything about what the reasoning was other than
we said so.
All of them are punishable by up to 2 years imprisonment if you allow your patient the right to try ivermectin for cancer. What kind of horse sense does that
I've never
make?
heard that it had any cancer application. But,
I've not either. But look, if you're dying of cancer, why would you take away the ability for somebody to try? I mean, again, if you're passing and it's painful and there's a glimmer of hope somewhere, we subject animals, rats, mice, pigs, all these things to trials. And our government has even done human trials, which we try to sweep under the rug. Why would you not let a cancer patient who has a dark path ahead the right to try? Well done, Alberta, Canada.
Wow. It doesn't surprise me, though. Canada.
Well, but again, I'm just going to say, how many times does that happen? And this is an optical one. But like you said, you could go right down to Mexico and buy boxes of ivermectin for how much? Inexpensive.
About $1 a pill or something less,
So is that literally what's driving that? Is it's nobody's making any money, or is
they're not making? Yeah, they're making money. They're not making wealth like what they did on the COVID vaccine and stuff. We're not making billionaires by selling ivermectin.
So you're looking it up now.
Well, I'm just saying if it had some, apparently they do it on dogs for cancer. It says clinical evidence in humans is very limited. Only one small phase half clinic trial. So it's not, but it doesn't say it's hurting you.
But that would be the reason to right to try, because it hasn't gone through all of the clinical trials and studies. That's the whole point behind that. So if, again, Russ, let's say your mom or dad had cancer and the outlook was bleak and there were no trials, but they wanted to try that. Would you not want them to have the ability if it was their decision?
Sure.
And that's the one thing that struck me is the premier of Alberta, Canada, signs a law that says you're sick, you're dying, you can't try it, even though we haven't studied it.
Edward sends me a note, says in Alberta and across Canada, ivermectin is not permitted for use as a cancer treatment because it has not been proven safe or effective for that purpose in human clinical trials. And there are no issues to have trials or dangerous interactions. Ivermectin can interfere with proven cancer therapies like chemotherapy, potentially making them less effective or more toxic.
No, I agree that
if that's the case,
it needs to be studied one way or the other. It's that right to try. They're taking away the individual. Like, let's say for whatever reason you couldn't do, whether it's radiation or anything else. Let's say you had some reason that you've tried that, it didn't work, and this is your last shot before passing. When do you as the government get to say, we're not going to let you try something on yourself?
I don't think they should be able to. I mean, the government wants to protect you from fraudsters and stuff like that, and all. But at the end of the day, I think ice cream would be the treatment I'd reach for.
Well, based on your former weight, it was. Mine too. But and again, who's to say that that, and I know this is anecdotal, but who's to say that the smile that little bit of ice cream every day gives you didn't extend your life because of just the positive vibes you're getting?
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
No,
So
no.
so Sunday after breakfast, we're going for ice cream.
Honestly, I got some ice cream after the ablation on my heart because I just told Helen she wanted to know what she could do for me. I said, go to the store, get me some ice cream. And she says, are you serious?
What kind?
Um, I don't remember. I think it was mint chocolate chip. In fact, yeah, it was mint chocolate chip because I know she doesn't like it, and then I can get it all myself.
So you walked back to the freezer 3 or 4 times and just ate straight out of the bowl.
I destroyed that
Okay.
that ice cream, but I felt so terrible after. I said, if I ask you for ice cream, do not bring it to me. Leave it
Well, you
alone.
didn't have to get the full gallon. They do make small pints.
I think so.
So-
But we had succession of small pints.
And again, back to what you're saying though, is that the shock therapy, because you started with the Iranian wrestler, it is outside the purview of most of us, so you
Sure.
don't pay attention to it. And we in this country still have the ability to protest and speak our opinions and do the best that we think we can. And so look, I could be wrong, you could be wrong, but as long as you're doing your best and then you're willing to look at the actual facts, if you say whatever it is and somebody else challenges you and says, hey Russ, I think you're wrong because of this, you would sit down and have a conversation.
Yes.
You wouldn't get defensive. You wouldn't start calling them names. You
No.
wouldn't infer things about their mother. You would actually sit down and have a conversation. And as long as we all do that and say, hey, is that wrestler hanging in public good? If we can have that conversation and start changing the fabric of society, globally, I think we'll do amazing.
Uh-huh.
You're reading something.
I am.
Anything
Edward
good?
has found 2 trials on ivermectin and cancers.
And
It just says, let me see, investigators combine ivermectin with immunotherapy. It just says there were trials. It doesn't say what they were doing. Just he was looking at them. Is all.
now here's from my little seat on this little bus. If there were tons of trials and it came out negative, no, don't do it. If there were tons of trials and they weren't completed, watch. But literally, it's they're outlawing the ability to a person right to try.
Right.
That's, again, my mom went downhill so fast with aphasia, which you would call that Alzheimer's. There's different variations of it. But she went from one of the most vibrant, intelligent women who helped special needs kids for 30 plus years. Watching she and her partner, Kathy Noble in the schools helping kids was amazing. And you look at how her cognitive ability just deteriorated like crazy. If there was something for her to write to try and you told her that there's something, but it's illegal to try, I would have lost my mind. Now, I'm sure there wasn't at that moment, but watching a family member who has the ability to try something, if it's their last choice because it hasn't been researched all the way, I think somebody should have that right.
Right. I agree with you. I do. That they should have that right. But it's not going to happen in Canada.
Nope.
It's not. I mean, they have a lock on medical. They'll tell you when you need medical and what you need. I mean, it's heavily controlled.
Which again, look, there's pros and cons for everything. So you and I only know what we're shown and told.
Sure.
And I'm only going to speak on that one thing. It's interesting when the government can say you can't try this for your own benefit because you're going to die anyway.
I've had, and I didn't like it in this country when we outlawed ivermectin in the state of Arizona. And that was Doug Ducey, and I like Doug, but it was horrific that you couldn't do it, and for no reason other than because we said so.
Yeah, somebody up the food chain said you will,
which we all know that they did. Well, they didn't want people to think, oh, I've got something good in my hand, so I won't take the cure. Which they said was the cure, the shot, the stab, the whatever it was, which I never did take. I
And-
didn't trust it.
And by definition, when it's the cure, you don't have to keep taking the cure.
They lied about it more than once. It kept changing. The story changed constantly. It went from take one shot and you'll never get it ever. You don't get the disease and you're done and you'll never get it, to where, well, you're going to need a booster, but then you can't spread it. Well, you need a booster, but then you could spread it. But if you take another booster for the booster, then you probably won't spread a very bad part of it, but it won't make you very sick. Well, it might make you sick.
Yeah.
It just got to be so ridiculous. Like, how can we trust them anymore?
And I don't know that we can. And at the same time, we need to, all of us, be aware, and we need to communicate better, and we
Yeah.
need to be logical, less emotion, less name calling, more fact
Oh, no,
finding.
I'm not giving up on the name calling.
No, and again, we call you lots of things off
We're not-
air too.
We're not going to get
But-
rid of that.
But it's that, hey, just because I don't believe what you believe and you don't believe what I believe doesn't mean that either of us are bad people. We might have different perspectives or different education on something. It should be okay that we talk to each other and
Of course
say,
it should.
but that's what we've lost a lot of, is the ability to talk without labeling you as negative one way or
And
the other.
and that comes a lot from our leaders too in the country, which is distressing and upsetting that it does.
And you have an article on that, clearly.
I do. And it's political. The Democrats are vowing, and here's the headline: Democrats vow political reckoning if they win midterms as campaign season heats up.
Hold on. But before you even read the rest of that, what you're talking about is Hakeem Jeffries came up and said, should any of the Trump mergers be successful, if they win back, they're going to tear them down. Am I correct?
That's correct, and they want to bankrupt them. I mean, they think you will pay a price for not doing what the Democrats want. It's just outrageous.
And that said, here's what gets me is, in this country, it is now, especially when I read those things on the left,
Yeah.
it's now I'm going to get you back, I'm going to pay you back, and I'm going to destroy you. There's no push for the betterment of the country. But literally, when I read that headline this morning, thank you very much. Yes, I read that. You notice that?
Man, you're really keeping track of stuff.
Literally, one of the most powerful people in Washington is saying he's going to bankrupt you and wreck you if they take back power.
I don't know if you got down to the third and fourth paragraph, but you saw that Ruben Gallego is involved in that too, Senator.
I did
Our
see that.
senator.
Our senator.
And I think he's more outrageous than Hakeem Jeffries. But he says, once we take power, whoever the president is, we're going to break up your companies. I mean, just out directly, he's going to attack private enterprise because they didn't get in bed with the Democrats.
Just so I'm clear, those guys that are elected do understand the tax dollars proportionally come from government or from private enterprise.
Well,
I know you're a logical guy.
they're going to probably look at it as well, it's right here where the government has it, so it's ours. It comes from, of course, enterprise. He says, once we take power, whoever the president, okay, then he says, so all the investment you did to create these mergers are going to be for naught. Your investors are going to be pissed at you, and you're likely going to end up getting fired as a CEO because you wasted so much money and corrupted yourself in the process. And under Trump's administration, the notable mergers are Paramount's $82.7 billion acquisition of Warner Brothers, Capital One, $35 billion acquisition of Discover, and Nippon Steel acquisition of U.S. Steel for $14.9 billion. These elected officials are saying we are going to destroy these companies because we don't like that this happened under Trump.
I'm saddened for how our congressional leaders have deteriorated, that it's now, I'm going to be against an American.
Yeah.
I'm saddened for how many, and let's just, whether you're Republican or Democrat, how many good, hardworking, both Democrats and Republicans work at those companies. And literally the leaders of our Congress are saying, we're going to go after you.
Why do you think they're so pissed about Paramount?
Whoa, that's a whole different question. I think because Hollywood and the entertainment industry has been so pro liberal Democrat for so long. I think that Trump is getting any involvement in that is upsetting them. I think that they're losing control over the entertainment establishment.
Well, Chris Murphy, the Democrat out of Connecticut, Senator Murphy, Paramount should enjoy its growing news monopoly while they have it, because when Democrats win back power, we're going to break up these anti-democratic information conglomerates, all of them. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, how long have we lived where the all the news media and everything was 100% liberal?
And the government even funded some of it.
Well, yeah.
So
they did, and they plan on going after the FCC chairman too, Brendan Carr. They want to destroy him and bring him up to testify.
So our government is now willing to go after and attack people who are doing things for the betterment of society, in theory, and they're publicly going to say, "I'm going after you and I'm going to get you."
Yeah, publicly. They put it in one of them, our own Senator Ruben Gallego.
So if you threaten somebody, is there a problem with that?
Most likely, yes.
Okay. So you can't threaten, I'm going to go bankrupt your business and I'm going to put you out of business.
Okay. If you're a competitor and you say, I'm going to bankrupt you because I'm going to be better than you and get all the customers, and I guess you could get away with that. But when you say you're going to use these tactics of heavy-handed government tax dollars to destroy you, I think we should all be aware and be weary of that type of power and force.
Openly, visibly, and verbally, they're telling you they're going to do it. That's a problem.
Sundance Media, which is the parent company of Paramount, has close ties to the Trump administration. There is the problem. And through its CEO, David Ellison, a figure who appears as a Republican guest on the 2026 State of the Union, who has been a frequent guest to the White House. That's it. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you be partisan? That's not our party.
But as long as the entertainment industry is partisan for their party,
they love
okay.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, when I read that story, I thought we've turned a corner.
This makes me sick. This is terrible.
We've turned a corner that in this country, we're not, again, you go back to, and was Kennedy Republican or Democrat for all the youth out there?
There's Democrat.
Okay. And his line was what? Ask not what this country can do for you, but what you can do for this country.
If Hakeem Jeffries said that today, they would run him out of office.
But where has that gone? That should be, look, we're all fighting to build and protect this country, and we're fighting for the betterment of Americans. It's not, I'm going to go after you because you did something I didn't like, so I'm going to destroy you.
One person they're really after too is Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. Jasmine Crockett, although she's not going to be in office very long. She interrupted proceedings at the House Oversight Committee to demand lawmakers subpoena billionaire Elon Musk over his work with the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, because we don't like it.
Yeah, so certainly she hates efficiency.
Yeah.
Good.
The motion was subpoena Elon Musk, who was headed DOGE, is the one who made the recommendations for these spending cuts. How dare you do spending cuts? And that was his job, to advise. He advises. He doesn't make them. But they want to teach him a lesson so that anybody that wants to join Trump again gets the message. It's like what the mob does.
You said exactly what I was thinking about 2 minutes ago. It's the mob, it's the corruption, it's again, if you have your business and you stopped all of the providers from putting resources into your competitors, you stopped battery deliveries, you stopped tire deliveries, you stopped oil deliveries to all of your competitors because you could control that. Are you now doing something illegal?
No.
Okay. If you put a gun to somebody's head and say, don't do it.
You might have crossed the line right there.
Okay. So I know they're not putting a gun to your head, but verbally, are they inciting violence against these groups?
And this is government. This is tax dollars. These are supposed to be supporting commerce and supporting everything. Like, yes, they should have hearings about things that have gone awry. They should have hearings about fraud. They should have hearings about, what's going on to make sure that we're doing it. But to say because you're connected to Trump, we're going to have hearings, and Elon Musk because he was an advisor is going to have. We're not saying he broke any laws, but he was an advisor.
Yeah.
So we're going to destroy him. Now, I really hope that Musk gets subpoenaed and has to go do it. I would watch that. I mean, I would get the popcorn. I think
We'll
he's
put it on the big screen
he
here.
put it
and
on the
we'll-
big
yeah.
screen. I would get the popcorn. I think he's a smart guy. And remember when Henry Ford was subpoenaed to go to Congress? It was wonderful. I mean, he did a great job of not. I mean, he just told the truth, and I think Musk would be interesting.
Yeah.
To be subpoenaed by these angry Democrats who are so mad at him for being successful and for advising Trump on how to cut waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun.
It would be.
I don't know if he would enjoy it, but I would.
Maybe he would. I don't know. It would be interesting to watch. I'm saddened that we've gotten to this point in this country that, and again, greatest country on earth, I think greatest time in history. We still have so much opportunity. So I'm very optimistic and positive.
Look at what they did to Trump. I mean, we really need to not forget that these lawsuits, which they decided not to go federal, but to go to different individual states and start. In fact, they changed laws in some states temporarily to find a way to twist what Trump did into something illegal and then prosecute him with all the money they had, all the might they had, connections to federal, which is not legal. And they're falling apart now. All of them are falling apart. But
it is
the
amazing
money,
what happens when you have the government backing something.
They got unlimited money.
Yeah.
They'll spend it. And Trump had the money to afford it and had the moxie to really plow through it, get it done. I mean, he did things great. Like had to go. I mean, they purposely perp walked him to go get a picture.
Mhm.
And
he put it on the wall.
Yeah, he did his hair and everything and practiced his look to make sure he looked like menacing or something. And he put it on a T-shirt and a mug and sold it.
Do you have those? Do you have
No,
one? Okay.
No, I think that's awesome though. It's just kind of hilarious that they think they outsmart like we got him now.
And that's what everybody I hope reads is, look, when you have Congress going after people who haven't done anything, but they're telling you they're going to go after you because they don't like you for your beliefs. That's a scary thing to me. I mean, what happens if somebody doesn't like you, Russ? Do they come in and forcibly turn off the station?
Hasn't happened yet, but don't put that lightly. Look, there have been radio talk show hosts that have been shot by agitators that don't agree with the policies. Happens more in other countries than it does here, but it has happened here to where people hate somebody so much that they're going to come after them. And when we hear this from our leaders, it just does nothing but whip up those things. They spin up this hate, they spin up this stuff. That's why Trump probably had these assassination attempts. Was there so much fake news out there and so many people putting problems on his shoulders that just weren't true? Yeah. But they're trying to ruin his credibility, but they're also making it dangerous for him.
Well, I would be concerned if I'm any of these businesses that Gallegos and Jeffries just mentioned. What good does it come from to target these businesses and say, we're going to go after you if and when we ever win again?
Yeah.
Wait, so what? If it was wrong and it's illegal, it should be wrong or illegal in the law.
Why do you think they're doing it now? Why?
Because they can.
Well,
in my opinion, they're losing. So now they have to come up with other things that are argumentative and targeting.
That's more what I was looking for. This is more of a panic stuff. This is more. I mean, it's stupid. It's like when you're drowning, you don't necessarily act rational. I don't think this is rational. But they've lost a lot. Look, a lot of the NGOs have already been cut off, and that's their money. That's a gravy train to them. A lot of the fraud's been found out. That's a gravy train for a lot of these big cities that are blue to keep funding. It's coming from federal tax dollars and it looks like now the fraud's being outed, and so they're panicking a little bit because that is the gravy train for the Democrats. Is they live on tax dollars.
The threat from an elected official is real, and it has not become shocking to enough people, I don't believe. Again, I'm going to go back to, I don't want to see anything negative. The camaraderie we had on 9/12 was palpable.
Yeah.
And we were all Americans fighting for one thing. When you have elected officials attacking people saying, we're going to go after you, we're going to bankrupt you, we're going to destroy you in a few years if we take power.
Yeah. Please give to my campaign.
Isn't that interesting?
I don't think they're counting on these people to give to them now.
Probably not.
But they're verbalizing things I didn't really think we would see.
I never thought I would do that.
But they probably think that Trump has destroyed businesses just because he doesn't like them. Now, Trump hasn't done that, but he's cut fundings for ridiculous green energy stuff. He's cut fundings for these NGOs that are funneling money to crazy places like USAID and stuff has been cut, and all that was supporting transgenders in Africa and all this ridiculous stuff you read. So they're probably thinking, well, Trump's doing the same thing. Well, no, it's not. This is taxpayer money. He's talking about going after private enterprise.
Yeah. And private enterprise.
Yep.
What happens when you annoy one of the elected officials enough that they say, we're going to shut Russ Clark's business down? We're going to attack Russ Clark.
Well, dirty tricks have been played, like the IRS. I mean, Rush Limbaugh used to get audited every year.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is
it's dirty tricks.
And I'm not supporting that it was in the dark, but they used to do it behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They used to.
And then say, well, we didn't know about that.
I mean, how many times have we read the IRS didn't support a conservative nonprofit organization, but very much supported a liberal nonprofit organization getting through?
Lois Lerner had to testify to that fact. And she took the fifth, lied, whatever it was. But we know that nothing with the name Tea Party in it got approval as a nonprofit for many years.
So they used to do that behind the scenes. Now they're so comfortable with it, they're going to put it on front page news.
They would deny it too. I mean, look at some of these public radio where they had to go testify about them being one-sided. And they just lied and think they're well in balance. I said, well, do you understand that you have 87 executives and all 87 of them are Democrat?
Yeah. Those were great interviews. Those were great testimonies.
Well, it just showed how much they were either totally out of touch with the planet or liars.
It shows how people can say literally anything they want and there's no repercussion, because you can, forgive me, it's escaping me, the gentleman who just resigned, but a year ago was talking about how Iran is the greatest threat to us. And now I don't understand why we're in there, because you're no longer.
There was a reason for that. But that he apparently was being investigated for leaking classified information. So that's quite possibly, of course, maybe they made the leaking thing up to make him look bad, but I don't think so.
Who knows?
But
again,
that started before he ever did it, and I forget the guy's name too.
You see some of these people who literally can say anything they want with no repercussions, and when our elected officials are targeting private businesses and threatening them that they're going to go after you in a few years if they win, man, it's a scary thing.
Well, and part of it, yeah, it's scary, but I like to hear it in that it's not a secret now. At least we won't be surprised. Yeah. Like when John Chaddick was on the air, and I asked him about the fraud in the Somali fraud and all that stuff. It surprised, and he was shocked. Well, I was too. I was shocked at the depth of it, and I'm shocked about some of these comments coming from Gallego. Like, you're saying that publicly, out loud? That's heinous. It's terrible. You're a mobster.
What's the power corrupts and absolute power
corrupts absolutely.
When you feel so comfortable that you can make threats against other people's livelihoods and their above board businesses, that's a position I wish America was never in. To me, that is paramount, no pun intended, but that is paramount to you're starting something that you may not be able to put back in the box.
Yes, and do they really? I mean, is that going to be the new tactic for everybody now? It's kind of crazy.
I feel like it is, and it's now we're not going to go politic, and we're not going to go fight for what we believe. We're just going to attack and destroy everybody else.
Well, that's what's going on. At least the rhetoric. I believe it, though.
I believe it. You know, when you see what's been done in behind the scenes, like you were talking about the IRS and Tea Party, I believe it.
Well, and look what they did during Trump's first term. Impeachment twice for no reason. They pushed an impeachment through in a couple weeks illegally because they didn't even use the justice of Supreme Court justice by Constitution is supposed to administer that, and the justice looked at it and says, "I'm not going to do that." And so they grabbed a parliamentarian or something just to rush it through to put on the record, Trump's tarnished. We impeached him. Yeah, it was definitely a political impeachment.
You know, I hope we all get back to kind of what Mother Teresa used to say.
What did she say?
Well, she would never attend a war, an anti-war rally. She would attend a pro-peace rally.
Right.
She would fight for what she believes in,
right,
not against what she doesn't.
I think that's a winning thing.
And you look at that vile article when people are going to go attack other businesses, private individuals for what they believe
from our government.
Yes. No. Let's go back and start fighting for what we believe. We're going to fight for all Americans. And I think, Representative Shattuck said it great yesterday. Do you remember when everybody wanted a car in every driveway and a chicken in every pot?
Yeah.
Look, we're all on the same team. We're Americans here. I'm not going to go after, look, if you don't have my political beliefs, I'm still not going to go after you and attack you. Let's have a conversation. And it should be okay. Look, you might have a belief that maybe I need to subscribe to. I might have a belief that you need to subscribe to. But the sheer fact they're going to go after and dismantle and bankrupt companies because they don't believe in the same thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the world we've got right now. But the players, I mean, they're paying a price. I don't know if you saw the polling the other day on CNN that the MAGA supporters, the MAGA people, self-identified MAGA, 100% loyal to Trump. 100%.
Saw that.
Not 99.9.
Nice hat.
Yeah, I got a MAGA hat on, but I it's not that I think they're blind at all. They don't follow anything blindly. They're following him for what he's promised to do because they realize he's going to do it.
And some of the things that we need to pay attention to. Do you remember how bad the border was prior to his taking office again?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
And do you remember how quickly the Border Patrol station dismantled the Super Bowl tents and the semi HVACs and the borders closed?
They didn't need them.
And again, to the men and women who were always fighting for our border security, thank you for all of that. I can't imagine what it was like working in that environment when you had your leadership in Washington fighting against you.
Morale was low.
So again, you look at how fast things can change with the right leadership.
It can do it for the good. But something else we need to do for the good is take a break, and we're done for the show today. Did you know it's time to go to work?
It is, but you're going to be back with Jonathan on Sunday.
We'll see.
You like how I looped that back in?
We'll see how that works out. Derek, thanks for much. I'll be back definitely on Monday, if not Sunday. Hey, this is Russ Clark Show, Mortgage One Studio. How about that? We got it out?